Good luck go, we miss am. Buhari go, we miss am. If Tinubu go, we miss am. Our own don finish.
I swear!
If person wan buy data now, e go use like 15 minutes look option. That time, when I say Tinubu dey shake, now who dey shake?
Me and you!
To buy crates of egg for this era go be like careless spending.
With 300, we fit buy mineral and egg roll. But now, 300 no fit buy egg, talk less of road. To chop single sausage shawarma now, person go dey do 2 weeks of planning.
God abeg!
Country dey spoil dey go. One person dey one side dey shout, "My father is the best president."
Better shut up!
Garri wey be poor man food don turn gold.
No be lie!
President Tinubu, abeg, do something before something do us, abeg.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
The first item that President Trump is signing is the rescission of 78 Biden-era executive actions, executive orders, presidential memoranda, and others. The next item here is the withdrawal from the Paris Climate Treaty. This is a proclamation guaranteeing the state's protection against invasion based on the current crisis at the southern border.
So this is January 6th, and these are the hostages, approximately 1,500 for a pardon.
Full presidential pardon, that's what we got. Nobody gets those, people like me.
Marco Rubio has been sworn in as Secretary of State.
And Bondi was sworn in as Attorney
Tulsi Gabbard as the nation's intelligence chief.
Air Force One is currently in international waters, the first time in history flying over the recently renamed Gulf of America.
The Prime Minister and I focused on the future, discussing how we can work together to ensure Hamas is eliminated and ultimately restore peace to a very troubled region.
The president spoke alongside Jordanian King Abdullah.
Modi and Trump's friendly report.
The president hosted French counterpart Emmanuel Macron.
British Prime Minister Keir Starmer was at the White House.
President Trump has cut short talks with Ukraine's leader after an extraordinary Oval Office meeting.
Your country's in big trouble. Wait a minute. No. You've done a lot of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
The people voted for major government reform, and that's what the people are going to get. They're going to get what they voted for.
We are told that they've been told to telework, which is the exact opposite of what they told everybody else in the federal government, which is you can't telework.
If you really want to make America great, that's what you do. You treat your civil servants fairly, and you should bring them back.
The American dream is unstoppable, and our country is on the verge of a comeback, the likes of which the world has never witnessed and perhaps will never witness again.
President Trump is downplaying his national security team texting a military operation plan on a Signal chat group that included a journalist.
Nobody's texting war plans.
I'm going to buy because, number one, it's a great product, as good as it gets. And number two, because this man has devoted his energy and his life to doing this. I think he's been treated very unfairly by a very small group of people. We're going to get them out. We're coming up to get you. I've authorized Elon. I said, can you get them out? Because, they've been left up there. We have Liberation Day, as you know, on April 2nd.
What does his Liberation Day mean to the people that are shackled to debt?
In a few moments, I will sign a historic executive order instituting reciprocal tariffs on countries throughout the world.
President Trump is digging in his heels even as global markets plunge and recession fears grow over his tariffs.
More than 1,000 hands-off demonstrations took place across the nation this Saturday. People gathered to protest the Trump administration's actions on government downsizing, the economy, human rights, and other issues.
First of all, President Bukele said that he is not going to smuggle a foreign terrorist back into the United States of America, as many in this room in the Democrat Party seemingly want him to do.
What the Trump administration did admit in court was that Comar Abrego Garcia has been mistakenly detained.
revolves around central themes. AFRICOM's campaign revolves around central themes of ensuring strategic access, countering threats to the homeland and U.S. interests, preparing for and responding to crisis, and lastly, bolstering our allies and partners. This campaign places our African partners at the center, achieving positive change by executing African-led and U.S.-enabled operations focused on our shared objectives. In Africa, modest investments and resources go a long way towards achieving our national security interests. Africa faces many challenges, but also offers even more opportunities. With our African partners at the forefront, reinforced by our efforts and the efforts of our allies, we will continue to gain ground towards achieving lasting stability, security, and prosperity on this crucial continent. AFRICOM's campaign revolves around central themes of
a better view of the flame. Which everyone who knows about petroleum engineering will attest to the fact that once you see that flame,
gas go in,
yes, is indication that the refinery is functioning. And the people, residents of Warri that I spoke to, who live in the area, they told me that all the years that the refinery was moribund, that they never saw the flame. I have a friend, for example, who had worked in Saudi Aramco for years. He's based in the UK now. I told him, look, this was what I saw. He said, oh, that settles it. It is common knowledge. But the people who do not want to see good things happen about our country, some of them were saying, why didn't you go inside the refinery? If I want to go into the refinery and they deny me access, but I can see the flame.
Something is going on.
And I've spoken to people, staff, off camera, and they gave me information.
They confirmed.
So what else do you want?
Why were people
Why must I be inside before I can know what's going on there? I don't live in America, for example, but I can analyze American politics. Or at least on 3 occasions, I've accurately predicted the U.S. presidency. Yes. 2003. The one that Trump won, the first one, and this last one I predicted accurately. I don't live there.
2016.
Yes, 2016. In fact, I was in Maiduguri when the election was conducted. So,
time to show up now. Let me see. Let me get this thing sorted out. I think it's a little bit all over the place. Let me get that one up. All right. Thank you for joining me today. I think I Speak the Truth is here. Femi KJ is here. And Femi is also here. Femi was here before KJ, let's be fair. But KJ is a moderator. But that said, I think you've all seen some of the footage that has been played. There are very, very few standouts that I see going on with the videos. The Trump issue with Zelensky, the tariff one, and the border issue. Those are 3 big ones. The border one is the one Trump is really popular on. And for the life of me, I don't know why he doesn't focus mostly on that one. The tariff one is killing him. He's got the worst rating in all presidency. I think you have to go back 70 years before you get that kind of rating now. So that is Trump. You notice that video I played about Simfubara. The women are protesting, and they keep having this issue in that state. Whenever they go and try to do something, they hit brick wall where people tell them that we are not for your first lady. People are really pushing back against Tinubu's wife, man. It's like Tinubu's wife is the president. Why are they not pushing back against Tinubu himself? Anytime his wife goes anywhere, they're like, we are not your first lady, or you're not our first lady. They keep pushing back against her everywhere she goes. So poor lady on that one anyway. I don't know whether I should be saying that. But then there is also the issue of CENTCOM, AFRICOM, this thing. general, an American 4-star general, a black guy, as always. There are two critical points he made that I think that should be really highlighted, because this is the strategy I said is probably the reason why Africans are blind today. They do that all the time. It's a tactics that they use against Africans that have kept Africans in the dark. He used the term African-led, and he also said this thing, their partners, the partners that they have in Africa. He does, because he emphasized it. There's a reason why he said, he really emphasized that point, because he knows without that everything will fail. They always emphasize using Africans against Africans, because if they come with their guns and their ships and everything, the whole black community will wake up. And not just in Africa, it's going to wake up all over the world. You can even see that with the attempted assassinations that Fubara, I don't know, Steve Fubara, Traore, Ibrahim Traore, he has experienced in the Burkina Faso. Because of those assassination attempts, the entire globe is beginning to wake up to the fact that, okay, the West is doing this stuff. Even African Americans, that they are not even on the continent, the guy hasn't been killed yet, they are reacting to it. This is the point I've been making, that they deliberately keep us in the dark so that our people don't wake up to the truth of things. And that statement that general was making makes that emphatically clear. Let me just play it again, because it's a very short video, to be fair, so that people really get it, what he's trying to emphasize there. And he also emphasized the point that with little money that they spend in Africa, they go very, very far. Let's hear it again.
Ensuring strategic access, countering threats to the homeland and U.S. interests, preparing for and responding to crisis, and lastly, bolstering our allies and partners.
Whom are their allies and their partners? Not the nations, the presidents. That's what he's referring to. Let's go.
Campaign places our African partners at the center, achieving
African partners at the center. Not them. African partners at the center of it.
Positive change by executing African-led and U.S.-enabled operations focused on our shared objectives. In Africa, modest investments and resources go a long way towards achieving our national security interests. Africa faces many challenges, but also offers even more opportunities. With our African partners at the forefront, reinforced by our efforts and the efforts of our allies, we will continue to gain ground towards achieving lasting stability, security, and prosperity on this crucial continent. Africa.
How he emphasized it twice. He came back to the same point. Our partners in Africa. He emphasized it twice, and he also talked about how very little money goes a long way. And when they say stability, we've all had the stability in Africa now, and it basically means our poverty. So let's get back to this. Let me remove this. Yeah, thank you. And I can see that Femi is still grazing, in his harvest. He's grazing his harvest. You're welcome, and enjoy your fruits of your labor. Nobody will begrudge a man for enjoying the fruits of his labor. KJ, thank you for joining us. I know your man has been suffering in the polls. He's been dragged all over the place. To be fair, he is dragging himself all over the place. If Trump had focused on immigration alone, his popularity would be through the roof right now. So what do you make of his first 100 days in office?
I don't know where you get your own polls from, but for an independent analyst from Africa, looking at what the man is doing for his country, a person who has been able to move more than $5 trillion to the economy of his nation, whether you like his policies, all of policies, or you like some of it or not, I don't think somebody who is planning for his country to go down, irrespective of the fact that some people analyze that America has come to its peak and from this moment on is going down. And this is somebody who has said that's not going to happen, and he's doing everything possible to make sure that his country remains on the cutting edge. Obviously, when you say, like he explained, I listened to one of his videos this morning, he was explaining, concerning the car makers who came to him and said, You know what? We agree what you're saying, but you see, it's something that will not happen over. And so he reduced the tariff to 25% until giving them time to be able to build up all that they need to be able to make their manufacture their vehicles completely here in America. I think any leader who wants his people to have industries where they can work and be able to feed their family, that person cannot be said to be doing evil. Even though majority of the people may not, some of the people may not understand it, but that's a correct policy if you ask me. Let us also bear in mind that 80 million Americans voted him in. So 80 million Americans cannot be wrong or true. And I also want to say, as a media personality, or rather an expert in media, I know that the media chooses on which side they want to be. A majority of the media in America are weighing towards the Democrats.
No,
So
I
it
agree with
depends.
you there. I agree with you
So
there. But do you have any problem with the fact that one, he's starting policies that he knows is damaging the US? I don't know whether he knows even whether he cares. And also, this another angle, because this
who
angle I know how
who
you talk
says
about.
this thing?
Oh, hold on now, hold on. I know how you think about this area. This one I want to talk about now in the Nigerian context. That he, as a president, is benefiting a lot from some of the things he is doing. The cryptocurrency, he's made, I think, 2 billion or so that they've made. These people are making a whole heap of money with the actions they are taking because they have insider knowledge, and nobody's questioning Trump right now on anything he's doing. Everything he does, he seems to be getting away with it.
You see, I am somebody who is a liberal, and I allow liberal in the sense that I allow you to have your view. Your view may not necessarily be correct, but I allow you to have it.
But
It's
how
your
about
view.
the potential of conflict of interest? He's making a lot of money from his
You
policies.
see, the little I know of America, America is not like Nigeria, file, where people can make policies to suit themselves and their family, and it to be allowed to stand. But however, just to dial back a little bit, not up to a year ago, because Trump just 100 days in office. But during the
And has
last,
made about $2 billion.
hold on now, my brother. During the last this thing, you all know about the accusation against some of the members of the House of Reps and all that, whose husbands invested and made billions. These things are not discussed. We don't discuss it in pari passu, as they say, at the same level. But I speaking for myself, I'm not here to defend anybody's policy. I'm simply saying, like I said here, when the first time he came in, and people were saying, why should he say America first? I said it is good. I said, if I was a president in America and Africa, I will come to a meeting with him, knowing also I'm coming with my country first. And what I'm going to go away with will be what will be beneficial to my country. We will come to a position on the table where what you are taking away is best for America, where what I'm taking away is best for my country. And if it's not going to work that way, we look somewhere else. The problem is that we're expecting that America will continue to spoon feed the rest of the world, or many countries who are dependent on America. And it's not going to happen. Even if it happens now, it will continuously take away from your people.
Yeah, but
Look,
KJ, can you tell me? Hold on, I know you support him, so let's not this. I'm not going to begrudge you that, but I'm asking you to look into the policies themselves. Whether you, as a person, you look at the way he's carrying out the tariff, tariff wars. Do you think that way is going to benefit Nigeria? Not Nigeria, America, in the way he's doing it? Because those tariffs is not those countries that they are going to be able to trade with each other without tariffs. Don't you see that he's disadvantaging America?
The first thing I read in international relations was the currency manipulator. That currency manipulator is China. They have been in the history. Anybody if you did a master's course in the 90s, early 90s, you'll have read about the currency manipulators that have been on for a long time. So whatever is going on right now is not because it is him who introduced it. He's simply trying to deal with a long edge, and I'm not saying this is Democrat or Republican. I'm saying this has been in the threat zone of the world. Hold on, sir. So if you allow me to talk, I can allow you also make. Certain countries have continually been exporting things to America with high tariffs, and America has paid that much. But now America is saying we are not going to pay that. Let us come off that and deal with each other at a level that everybody can accept. But you see, that is me. I'm not saying this is a general view of everybody. I'm simply saying that if I was Bola Tinubu at this hour, I will come to the table also knowing that I've come to take away what is best for my people, Nigeria. I'm not coming there as a beggar. I'm coming there to say, you know what, we are selling our cocoa at this that price we are selling. If you're not willing to go to buy at that level, you leave. That's the same thing that which is simply saying, what is wrong with that? If we all come with that in mind and we sit down to have a negotiation, we will all got each other, favorably well, a piece of the pie, and everybody go home happy. And that's what I'm simply saying. I believe in fairness, and I can't,
The way I look at it is that as somebody that supports America to an extent, you do, that you should be looking at it like he's not helping America, because you can't keep saying let's tie America's hand with tariff while the rest of the world amongst themselves they are loose. That's the problem that many people don't see with what he's doing. Like if UK wants to trade with China now, it's not because they are going to put tariff between themselves and China. The tariff is still not there. But with America, so what is happening is that only America is being affected more negatively. The only reason why it's affecting the rest of the world is that they used to trade with America, so that trade is going to be affected. But what America is doing is making sure that the rest of the world goes away from America.
So let me ask you.
I would have thought you would see that that's not good for America.
Let me ask you a question. What was the level of before this time? What was the level of tariff between America and the rest of the countries? What was it? Can you go back?
It was lower. It was lower, definitely.
In favor of who? In favor of who?
I think both sides. I think it was in favor of both sides. I think America wasn't like free trade anything. America has tariffs. Even they protect their agricultural family. Why do you think Africa cannot compete with them? They have subsidies for their own people all the time. You know that. I'm arguing America first right now.
Can I chip in a word? Sorry, can I chip in a word? Just one word. I think what you are saying is valid. What you're saying is valid, but I think you really don't understand what forefathers is saying. In the pursuit of that policy, is Trump doing it well? Is his way, his method benefiting America? That's the critical question that I think forefathers is asking.
So they all, you see, I am a media person and I feed on news. All what the news have been telling you is hyperbole. All of them are saying that if this continues, this will happen. If this continues, the same thing they said about the stock exchange. The time that the stock exchange seemed to crash, they say, "Oh, we are now the stock exchange have bounced back and made over 2 trillion." They have quietly gone silent on that.
It hasn't bounced back. Where did you get that? America's economy has shrunk.
What are you saying? I know you're not following the stock exchange.
Okay, well, let me confirm. America's economy has shrunk by 3%.
The economy is shrinking now. America's economy is shrinking now.
But I'm not
it's shrinking now.
I'm talking about the stock exchange. Did they bounce back or not, my brother?
Yeah, yes, it just bounced back over the weekend.
No, it hasn't. When you lose 11 trillion and gain $2 trillion, that is not a bounce back. You're still
no, it's been fluctuating, but the results, this week's results, but that doesn't mean that the economy is doing well. That's the point I'm making.
Also, almost 4% right now.
Also, just to add something, I was going to pull up this popular professor from the past name. He once said that do not be fooled by measuring the health of the U.S. by the stock exchange. There's a specific way he put it, because when you look at the amount of people that actually have stocks, it doesn't represent the greater majority of people in the country. So, and even with Trump himself, you notice that he's always changing the way he talks. At some point in his first term, especially, you notice that whenever the stock market was doing well, he would start pandering towards there. But this time around, notice the way he comes across whenever they asked him about the way the stock exchange was doing when he introduced the tariffs. You notice he started manipulating his words from the first time.
NASDAQ.
Yes, he said it's Biden's economy.
Let's give it to KJ. KJ said something that we're disputing necessarily, but I think that maybe there's some truth there. Let me just check this, because there's a report on the BBC. It says that Wall Street claws back from tariff losses. So if you go into detail, it says Wall Street has clawed back losses incurred after President Trump imposed global tariff a month ago, capping the longest winning streak in 2 decades for U.S. stocks. Shares saw gains for the 9th day in a row for the first time since 2014. Okay, so it could mean that the stock has risen back again, and
Forefathers,
we all know the reason why he did
economy
that.
is tanking anyway. It doesn't matter.
No, I just have to be. I have to be
The stock
try
market
to be
is not the
objective about
economy,
it.
forefather.
Dude, the
401k is still down.
NASDAQ,
401k is still
they're
down.
not the economy, bro. It's still down.
The value of the dollar is going down. Ruble is going up.
Yeah, that is true, and also that is also partly because Trump removed quite a lot of the tariff that he put in place. Because remember, he had to back off.
No, he had to, because remember I told you last before that I am telling you now. I think we need to start paying more attention to China. But I've watched I follow a lot of Americans. What they're doing. When they a lot of Americans are in China. If you see the kind of things that is happening, I'm going to give you some statistics when it gets to my Tump proper about what's going on, especially in the technology side of things, which is leading to where the world is going. America is a joke right now. I'm going to give you some
that's a lot too. That kind of stuff, you don't want to be saying that for a
No,
country that's
no. See, when the likes of Jeffrey Sachs, look, I
My
don't know
brother,
if you know
Femi, whatever you like, say America can never, read my lips, never be a joke. Not now, not in future.
where China is,
Go back
right
to
now, KJ, where China is right now,
China is moving faster than America.
KJ,
That's
I don't
for
think you
sure.
know what's going on.
Yeah,
I don't think you know.
actually speeding up.
Let me tell you something for the benefit of those of us who are Africans. We should even pray that America doesn't go backwards. You know what? Because when China takes over the leadership of this world, hey,
Femi, what indices are you using when you say America is a joke? Like, what criteria are you using?
No, so I'm talking with respect to where we're headed. If we're not careful.
If China is friendly, why not you relocate to China?
Like what?
No, what I mean,
okay.
What I mean, I know I probably use highfalutin words.
Right.
What I mean, with respect to China and where we're heading in terms of when you compare, for example, let me specifically speak to the aspect of technology, which is what's mostly driving the knowledge economy as we know it. There's a report about when you look at the advanced technologies, China is at the head, and this is not something that was carried out. I'm sure you've heard this. It's not something that was carried out by. There's a major report from an Australian body that takes into consideration a lot of the indices that surround what I'm talking about. China is leading in 7 out of 10 major domains, advanced technologies, and in terms of the skill level, their manufacturing capacity, and in fact, let me, I don't know, maybe this might shock some of us. I only just realized that even this issue of bringing back manufacturing, even this rare earth metal thing that they keep talking about, I only just realized that if America was to even Trump was to go ahead with this policy, even the machines that will be used, you'd have to import it from China. That's how funny. That's how wild this is. There's a lot of things
that's what I think. This is why I was thinking that if I was America doing this, there's a different way to do this. You have to start from empowering.
That's why I said we're a joke.
It should have been paced. It should have been
it should. I mean, there are stages to it. You can't just go to where Trump is doing it now. It's just crazy.
And to call China a currency manipulator, who's a bigger?
You know what? I didn't. That's why I wanted to interject with that one. I was like,
we've been hearing this for the last 25, 30 years.
That's a big funny one.
Yes, if you look at marketers and they'll say, oh, well, they are currency manipulators, but who's the bigger currency manipulator than the person that gives you a worthless IOU notes for payments when it's not backed up by any tangible resource aside from the military? There's none bigger than the United States of America. But yes, our interests lie here. So, of course, we're going to have to defend the interests of the United States of America. But we want to look
which of the countries backs their currency with gold? Which one?
Well, America stopped it. So
no,
everybody,
which one? No, I'm
every
asking you now, which currency that is not a promissory note on earth now? That
because
America
again,
stopped
like I
it
said,
under America stopped it under Nixon.
exactly. So America stopped it.
You
You asked
made
a
a
question.
statement.
Let me answer. So everybody else is willing to do that. Everybody else with rare earth materials, everybody else with gold, with silver, with bauxite, with uranium, with copper, with bronze, everybody else with oil is willing to do that. The only nation that is not willing to do it, and which is why they built their military to the extent that we have it today, is this one where we're from, the United States of America.
And then look at even the bond market, and look at the way the debt is mostly owed to China as well. They got America good.
KJ, look at the America from this point of view. When you use the term currency manipulation in the side of China, America can literally print almost anything they want, and it hardly affects the value of their currency because everybody relies on their currency. That's why they have infinite amount to spend. They can spend, if just on defense, more than the 10 nearest country put together. Only just one department alone, because they have endless supply of cash.
But then that's a problem, because you keep building up all this debt and gathering all this debt, and then one day all the people start selling the bonds that they bought from you, and then what happens? What happens when
their ass?
China
You go there and arrest and shoot and start
exactly.
wars. That's what you do. If they try that nonsense, that's what America does.
Fathers, with the current statistics, America is Trump is proposing a defense budget of $1 trillion.
Yeah,
you know, 1 trillion.
More debts.
Yeah,
$1 trillion.
It's not a debt.
In
I don't
defense
know why.
spending.
See, that is just a way of saying printing money. The only difference is that they don't pay that debt back. This is the trick is a con. When you talk about currency manipulation, when they call it debt, that is, you should just know that they are printing money.
Yeah, but at some point,
that's all.
The more powerful countries like China get, the more influential countries like Saudi Arabia get, the more influential
Tell me
countries
how
like
China. No, let me answer me this question now. Tell me how China, because this is a very interesting point when people talk about this debt that America owes other country. Tell me how China can use its debt to affect America. I don't know. How?
What do you mean? Okay.
Let's say America owes China. How does it affect America?
Let me ask you, what do you understand as the debt that we're talking about?
What I understand that is debt is that it's debt. You owe people money. If America borrows money and America
but what kind of money? We know that is money, but what kind of money do you think they owe? How do you think they owe?
They owe it in dollars now. By and large.
How? Do they just say, America, give me $1, or how?
They borrow it from the Chinese.
Okay.
Or the Chinese somehow invest their money in it.
In return for?
Depends on the deal. It depends,
no, it's not depending. They buy bonds, what we call bonds. They buy treasury bills. So
in Nigeria, they use oil. So there are two different ways.
Everybody buys treasury bills. It's the same. It's the same. So they just buy treasury bills.
It's not necessarily the same, but go ahead.
Oh, it's okay. You can argue all you want, but all they do is they buy the country's treasury bills. They buy bonds from the country, and then they hold those bonds
and stuff.
Then I know the question I asked was, how does it affect America?
And then you let me explain, but it's all right. Go ahead and talk.
So you don't want to answer you don't want to go to the heart of the question. I'm asking you, how does it affect America? Because that's a very important question, because a lot of people keep saying, oh, America owes China. No, the people that have the problem is China that has the problem. How do you force America to pay? If America borrows you money, how can you make America pay you that money? And even if they want to pay, they can just print money and give you again. What are you going to do? So the point is that if America has money, they have endless supply of money. There's a reason why when COVID-19 came along, money that they were telling that they didn't have, suddenly all these nations has money. The UK, I was in the UK, they have been carrying austerity measures, and they were cutting the budget for about £4 billion every year. They were cutting it for £4 billion. Then the year of the COVID-19, they were able to generate 300 billion. 300 billion they were able to generate. They were making poor people suffer. 4 billion every other year. They were taking people's benefits. People were suffering, and some of them were dying, even sick people. But when it came to COVID-19 that year, suddenly they were able to generate 300 billion. Where did the money come from? Don't you ask yourself where it came from? This is the problem with with people. When Sachs revealed the information that 18 billion trillion was borrowed by G20 nations in that year, $18 trillion. Where did all that money come from?
Fafa, let me ask you a question. Do you understand? Do you know? Because I think you love to hear yourself talk, and this is why me and you always go at.
Answering the question.
Do you that is so? No, you've just been on the monologue. Do you know what a treasury bill is?
I have an idea what a treasury bill is. I'm not going to tell you that I know exactly what it is.
You definitely don't. Do you know what a treasury bond is?
I have an idea.
You definitely don't. So what you're going to do is go read up on what the treasury bond is instead of...
See what he's doing? He's not answering the question. He just pretended as if he knows something special. Answer the question. If you have the answer, you'll be able to tell us here. Tell us how this affects China. How is China going to say, okay, because you owe me so much money with all these treasury bills or treasury bonds, I'm going to squeeze your neck? Tell me.
So, Fafana, please, if you don't mind. So I was trying to tell you something because it's not like I'm an economic expert, but someone I like to follow a lot and who criticizes both the Democrats and the Republicans, Professor Jeffrey Sachs. The way he puts it, it will tell you straight up that, first of all, even the value of the dollar would first of all reduce, and that is on top of the fact that especially because China being the highest creditor to America in terms of soaking up whatever debts that America owes to them, it becomes a lot more difficult to now trust America. Because how difficult will it be, especially when you default? As a matter of fact, I don't know if you're aware of this. At some point, the Peter Navarro, who's supposed to be the economic advisor to Trump, they were contemplating even going as far as defaulting on the debt. There were insider mentions of this facts. Now, the greater consequences in addition to that will be that a lot from, again, not because I'm an economist, will be the fact that a lot of people who are already pivoting towards the BRICS nations will now, and even our investors will now decide that, you know what, there's no point in putting ourselves into further risk. They will continue to pivot to Asia. And keep in mind, whether you like it or not, China is going to the point, in addition to even Russia, which is reason again, and of course Saudi Arabia as well, who are all in cahoots with each other now. They've gone to the point where the amount of money and the wealth of the world that's being controlled now is moving to the east. So do not take it for granted that the American empire will go on forever, because I think we're taking it for granted, thinking that America can never be number two or something. There's no empire that stayed on forever. Remember, there was once a British empire in the not too recent distant past. What happened to that British empire after the Second World War?
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And the way America is going to decline is because other people are going to have, which is what is technically going on now, is other people are going to be having alternatives. They are not going to be relying on the dollar as much. And America is not going to be able to use its military power to enforce the use of its dollars. That is the only way to decouple people from the dollars. But when you say America owes countries money, the only thing that you are tying America to is that you are making America have an interest in keeping you close. As a matter of fact, America doesn't even have an interest, because if they kill the person that they are owing, they don't owe the person any money anymore. So I've asked the question, and I will ask again, all those people that claim they know a lot about treasury bills and treasury bonds, tell me how China can use that to damage America in any way. If you owe America or you owe the World Bank like Africa does, they can damage you. They can increase the interest rate. They can change the list. They can do everything because you have the power to do that. But China doesn't have any power over America. Not that kind of power anyway. So how can they damage America?
They have the influence. I just told you what Professor Jeffrey Sachs is. Is a well-known guy. He's well respected all over the world. I just gave you an idea of the kind of thinking, the way he paints, the way the world or the entire world is interconnected financially, especially the big powers. In this case, China and the US, is going to damage. In fact, one thing I left out that I mentioned is the way the interest rates and the markets will crash here will be a joke, like a joke.
Yeah, but that is, I hear what you are saying, and Sachs is quite a very, very intelligent person. But at the core of my questioning is, I'm trying to challenge the idea that there is this rules-based system whereby if you owe people money, people will be quaking at their boots, like America will be quaking. No, when you owe people money, it depends on who you are owing. If you owe a monster money like
I think you're
America,
forgetting something. A lot of people invest in American treasury bills, bonds, and what have you. In fact, look at the little matter of what happened. Not so little matter of what happened when he started with this tariff war. Look at how a lot of Japanese investors, Chinese investors started dumping their bonds and trying to look for other places to go invest in.
yes.
So I don't think you understand.
Just $50 billion they dumped. Just $50 billion.
You don't know how
Yes.
it affects,
And
how
NASDAQ
much
just
does
went
affect the
berserk.
American
You
economy.
see, now he's got
already.
a voice. Why didn't you just tell us answer the question? See, yes, they will dump their bonds, but if they dump those bonds, what does it do to America? That's the
It
question.
devalues
It
American
devalues the value of the
currency.
dollar.
It
It
puts
affects the
pressure
economy.
on
Interest
the
rates go up.
market.
The housing
It
market.
removes, like Femi said,
Right
it
now, a
removes
lot of
a
people
lot
are
of
refusing to buy
confidence
houses.
that
So
people
Nigeria,
have
we are the
in
ones
the
experiencing it
American
right now. We
currency.
feel it.
See,
Forefathers, how can you be asking that kind of question?
no. I'm
How
asking
can
the
you be
question.
asking
No,
that kind
calm down. Let's calm down. Let's calm down a little bit. See, the reason why I'm asking these questions because in the
Listen,
end,
what I'm,
they all still rely on dollars. That is the problem.
yeah,
All these people that are pulling
yeah,
bonds left and right, they still rely on the dollars. They can't get away from it.
yes,
They rely on the dollar,
to
but what happens
a large
when the
extent,
confidence
to
in the dollar is removed? The only thing that backs the dollar is the confidence that people have in it, or
Exactly.
its ability to rise in interest.
Exactly.
Now, if you start dumping it, people have no interest in it. Like the confidence reduces, it then affects other parts of the market. What runs America?
See that point you made just now. I'm not going to disagree with you because I said something just similar a moment ago when I said the way America is going to lose its power is because people have alternative. What Femi just said about removing money from American Treasury and putting it somewhere else, because they have alternative now, and that alternative tends to be China or China adjacent allies.
It's
They
even
tend to be
more.
the alternative, like the
I
BRICS.
don't think it's even as simple as the way you put it. One thing I realized in the past couple of months is that when at the height of British dominance and just before the war, I think either World War I, World War II, when Britain was spending more money on defense, just like America. See, there's a template for this thing, just like America is doing right now. That was when the British economy started going down. Because keep in mind, there was a time, in a way, technically the pound was like the if you will, like the dollar of today. And maybe for your information, I don't know if you're aware of this. The BRICS, they're having a meeting in June or July in Brazil, a major meeting of the major conglomerates, because they're trying to fast track the alternate currency, what's it called?
Reserve currency.
The payment, what do you call that in
Payment
the
system, like the SWIFT system?
Yeah, they're actually perfecting it. The technology is almost ready. So that
China already has
But what you are saying is that doesn't affect the loan aspect in terms of America.
I'm talking in respect to the dollar, because see, don't make it look as if remember there was once a Roman Empire. The empires have come and gone. It's almost like Trump is actually fast tracking the decline of the US in terms of the parameters that we're talking about. I'm telling you now, to Nigeria, do not overrate.
I agree with you on that, but ask yourself this question: if America owes you $10 billion, do you want their currency to depreciate 10 times so that it becomes the value you get is far less? Do you want that? So you can see that this thing is not as straightforward as people like.
Well, you can want it if you're a China and you are in a position to become number one. Then you know in the short,
exactly that is my point.
And you know in the short term that if I destabilize this person's economy and I destroy their society, I have the chance to be on top for the next 1,000 or 10,000 years. So if you are China, you can push for a situation which BRICS is trying to do now. And Femi, I would hope BRICS at some point. I would hope. Yeah, please, let me finish. So I would hope at some point BRICS kicks out India. But if you are China and you are Russia and you are building a system like Femi just brought up, where you can bypass SWIFT, which that is the only reason the Russian economy did not go bust, because they had an internal system where they could bypass the SWIFT system, which was taught to them by China. China has built the same thing, and China is trying to now pass it around or connect the remaining BRICS nations.
That's a solid point.
Yeah, and if they can
that's a very solid point.
If they can bypass SWIFT, which is what the meeting in Rio is going to be about in next, America is in trouble. One of the things that America came up.
See, we have not been. Sorry for interjecting. The reason why my concern, all this one we are saying, I agree with it already. That still goes. Everything you just said that still goes to the point that I made earlier on that is how alternatives have to be created. However, the point I'm making is that America owing money, America owing people money right now. What damage does it do to America? I was trying to tell you.
We gave you examples already.
What is the example that people take their money out of America?
And right now, it's affecting the economy in
that is not
ways.
the debt. Is that the debt that they're taking out?
No. But we're giving an idea of what could happen if the debt there was going to be even as much as the default.
From investment point of view, the effect is going.
Why do you think he's begging investors to come to America? Why?
Because they want to actually build real industries instead of financial instruments.
He wants to build industries in America.
That's what he wants to do. The real thing.
I think first of all, we're spending too much time on this topic. Number two is that what Trump's leadership is. I mean, I don't know why.
Forefathers, you know what Warren Buffett said about Trump's tariff policy? Yeah, right. He called it an act of war. Yes, he called it an act of war. I mean that's a multi-billionaire, one of the richest men in the world.
Anthony, Warren Buffett is trying to protect his money.
Don't mind them. Yes,
Warren Buffett wants to protect his own interest.
If Trump a tariff on,
let's allow Dexter to say something. He hasn't said much.
Sorry, Dexter.
I haven't said anything.
He has dumped his.
Yeah, I know. We are going to come.
Bonds.
We're going to get it organized soon.
And he called it act of war. But he had dumped it and made money.
Anytime you impose a tariff on another country, especially an adversarial country, it is a form of economic war. That is what it is. It is just war without bullets. That is what the tariff usually is against. And I mean, if it's your friend, you're not going to put a tariff on them. So if you impose a tariff on someone, especially with the kind of relationship the United States and China has, that is a stance that you have taken, that we are about to go to economic war. And that is what is going on right now.
Forefathers, let me say something.
I mean, look at how much Tesla has lost. Look at how much Elon Musk has lost. The share value.
Elon Musk is not crying.
He was crying. Oh, no. He was crying seriously.
He's not crying.
Who said he's not crying? Who said he's not crying? Who said he's not crying? He's pulling out of Dodge. He's pulling out of Dodge. He's quarreled with almost every secretary of Trump.
We are spending time. Number one, we are not talking about ideologies, and we are spending time talking about people.
No, but you're giving us false information.
Can we let him make his point? I don't even know the point he's making. He just jumped into his mouth.
Number one, we're spending so much time talking about Elon Musk. Forget about those people. That doesn't affect. That's the reason why Africa is where it is. Forget about those people. Look, if Trump's ideology is that he wants America to be a manufacturing hub again, the truth about it is that he has to crash the dollar so that people can buy things. That is the simple truth of it. Now, how it affects us, that's our own bloody business. That is our own business. Look, number two, people are saying, oh, Trump is imposing tariff on China. Doesn't China impose tariff on American goods?
He can't crash the dollar. It's not a Federal Reserve. This thing. He can't crash. This is not. He can't crash the dollar. There's no way Trump can crash the dollar.
Only policies can crash the dollar.
That's interesting, actually. That's an interesting policy.
If you take a policy, you can crash the dollar. Now
you want to crash the dollar when you haven't even started.
The Federal Reserve is there. The Federal Reserve is there. That's why they exist.
What are you going to sell? What are you going to sell to people if he's crashing the dollar like he is?
China places tariffs on American goods.
That's an interesting point. I never thought about it from that point of view.
Please, can I ask you a question? Please? I beg you. So Justice Sachs, he explains something in a very simple way, what a tariff is and the reason why America finds itself where it is. And this is where he explains it. And it's going to lead to my question. He said, imagine that I go to the gas station to buy something in the shop there. The person that I'm buying from, it wasn't the person that prompted me to come and buy. So when I buy from that person, that means I'm now in deficit. He is a professor in the school where he's at. The school is in deficit to him because he's teaching and he gets paid. So tell me how it's China's fault that we're so consumer focused in terms of we're so materialistic as Americans, right? To the point that we buy more than we sell to China. In addition, it wasn't China that asked all of these greedy American investors that want to make more money, which I don't blame them for. They were the ones that moved a lot of the manufacturing concerns to a place where they're going to pay, they're going to get more returns on their investments. Okay, explain to me how that is China's fault.
Femi, look, it's simple logic. What you have said, if you just think about it, you understand it. Let me tell you something, Femi. Look, are you a businessman?
I'm not. I don't have to be.
Okay, fine, good. Since you're not a businessman, that's why you seem to be looking at it from the employee point of view. Look at it from the business point of view.
Okay.
You are manufacturing something in a particular place. You are manufacturing something in a particular place, and your ROI probably is $1. You find out that the same thing you're manufacturing here, if you go to another place to manufacture it, you manufacture it at a cheaper cost, and your ROI will move to $5. If you're a businessman, it's a no-brainer. You move your business to where it's cheaper.
How do you now blame China for that? How do you blame China for that? That's my question.
Good. It's a good point. Now, if another leadership comes into play and say, look, we want to bring the people back. What countries do, the way countries protect, it's just like Nigeria. Nigeria wants to protect something that they are manufacturing. What do they say? No importation of, stop importing rice. Don't you know that's a policy that affects Thailand?
Why don't you deal with the people that are taking the jobs?
Wait. Do you know that anytime Nigeria says don't import rice, it affects Thailand? That's why you start having smuggling.
Dexter, but why don't you deal with the people that are taking the jobs out?
No, I'm trying to figure out.
Let's hear him out here because I'm just doing some calculation that maybe there's a method to this madness.
Femi, America runs on and is a capitalist system. So you can't tell, look, there's something I call, look, do you know the most important thing that the Western world has? UK, places like UK, Norway, America, Switzerland. Do you know the most important thing they have? Do you think it's all these factories? Do you actually think it's factories that is the most important thing? The most important thing is IP. Do you know what an IP is?
Intellectual property. Okay, so
please excuse me. That is the most important thing.
Actually, it's not.
Let me give you an example.
Okay?
Excuse me, please. I don't want to lose my train of thought. Excuse me. So let me give you an example. Presently in the UK, there's a company that is making, what do you call it? They want to start making contact lenses, but these contact lenses are customized for each person's eyes. Now, they are building the machine. They are building the machine to make these contact lenses. But guess where they are building the machine in the UK. But guess where the contact lenses, where these machines will be installed? These machines will be installed in Taiwan. And they were giving me the analysis of it. The machines is going to be installed in Taiwan. It is cutting edge technology. But they are now thinking, should they make robots to be making this contact lenses?
Yo, what's the point of anything saying? Like
the contact lenses, Oga, please keep quiet.
Let's hear him out. Maybe there is something to be said about it because I think it's not as simple as I was thinking at first.
The contact lenses are going to be made by robots. But do you know the analysis they are considering now? They're not saying, why don't they use human beings to run the machine? And the analysis shows that machine to human being in Taiwan, that human beings will be more efficient, that what it will take for them to gain back the money for building a robot to carry that operation, it will take like 100 years. Now, they are going to take that machine to Taiwan. Machine is being produced in the UK. But what am I trying to tell you? The most important thing is the IP. who makes the machine, who designs the machine, that person can do it at any point in time. So they will take.
Sorry. Listen, I think that's exactly what I was thinking, because what you said at first, anybody would jump at your throat and say it's crazy. However, America is not like Africa. America is not like any, or even Western countries are not like that. If they don't get trade coming in, they have capacity to create things.
Simple.
That's the IP is referring to. They have capacity to do those things. So the effect is not going to be the same. So if it crashes the currency right now, it doesn't necessarily mean they cannot manufacture stuff. They can still manufacture stuff that the world can come and buy at a cheaper rate.
Right now, there's a projection that pretty soon the shops are already going to be emptying because China remains the factory of the world. This thing's not as easy as you're making it sound.
That is true.
Femi, those factories, those, you know that
only an intellectual property.
Apple is decoupling from China.
Dependent on if you are a respecter of the law. If you do not respect the law, like the moment America imposes tariffs on China, what did China do? China said, "Oh, you want to F with us like that? All right, we're going to show everybody how much we make it. We're going to show everybody how easy it is to be made. And we're going to show everybody that you are fleecing the market, the global market." And what did they do? Go all over TikTok and all these Nike boots, the designer, the luxury good, the Hermes bags, they just started showing us like, listen, we make this shit for like $15 and we sell them to you guys for like 10,000, 5,000, 7,000, whatever. So IP
is different from that. That is the low. Look,
you're telling me what IP is? Are you drunk?
You're talking about the low end, about money. Money is paper. It can be bought.
When did I talk about money?
What gives value? What gives value? It's not that paper. It's the intellectual property of it.
That's
look,
if
I can manufacture, Femi, if I can manufacture, look, if I can design something, I can give you the design. But I know that, look, even when I give you the design, I can redesign another one for myself. I'm the one that has the power.
Wasn't that what I just said about China?
You were talking about money. That China now said, okay.
Did I say anything about money? How is Hermes money? But because you guys come on here, you want to pretend you know what you're talking about, and you want to just argue and talk. I said.
He didn't insult you now.
No, yes, I will be, because I do not appreciate the fact that people just come on here like they just want to argue and misinform the public. It is very simple. If you don't know something, I don't know it. Don't come on here and try to pretend.
But what did he say that was so wrong?
He said I was talking about money. I did not talk about money. I said IP is only respected as far as if the people involved in it want to respect it. That was how I started off. And I said, this is what China did. I said, the moment they imposed a tariff on China, what did China do? China exposed the technology and how they make, well, I did not use technology. I said, for example, they exposed how they design Hermes and how much they make off of it and how much it costs them. I said they exposed all these things, the designs, everything. They expose it. The blueprints, everything is all over the internet. Everything.
What? They exposed it? I didn't know that. Nigerians should be copied now.
Sorry.
Even the iPhones. No, sorry for yourself. Even the iPhones, they exposed the blueprint to the extent that Apple decided that they're going to be making it in Brazil. Yes. Not only that, they want to make it in Brazil.
You are misinforming. You are misinforming. You don't
even live in the United States.
You are misinforming.
See, Dexter, both of you are not very far apart. Let's just hear each other out. You are not very far apart.
Apple was already decoupled.
Can we calm down? One at a time.
Us here.
What America
was decoupling from China already.
What China did, they started exposing the blueprints of how to make all of
this. Show us one blueprint.
Can I finish speaking? They even passed a law in China saying there's no point for intellectual property protection. So you can expose it all you want. And that is what the Chinese have been doing.
It's good. Who made the intellectual property? The question is this. This is what I'm trying to tell you, forefathers. I design something. I give you the intellectual property. I am the one that has the capacity to design. So whether you expose, look, technology has moved on. Chips have moved on. If I give you the idea of making a second generation chip, you go and expose it. That's your business. I've moved on to 5th generation chips. So that's what I'm trying to say. The most important thing is the person that can design and owns the intellectual property. If I give you the intellectual property,
what is the point?
And
You won't keep
can't.
hopping. We know by now.
Hold on. Okay, let me try to calm this down a bit. See, I hear what spiritually is saying, that there is only to a level that people can respect intellectual property based on enforced international rules. But there is also the point where that Dexter is making, that if you have the capacity to make new ones and you're already ahead in technology, it's not going to matter. Let the other ones have what they're going to have. Then you can still manufacture. At the core of it is this trade tariff thing, which I am trying to get into, where Dexter is coming from, that America is trying to collapse its currency. Maybe he's trying to drive people away from it, so that when his currency collapses, its own people will not even be buying stuff from overseas. They will have to start making it in America. Everything they're making overseas, they can make in America. It's just that it's going to take time.
Sense to you? You don't have the industries because
exactly.
It's not like
you have the capacity to have the industries.
Hold on.
And they are busy firing migrants. They need migrants to build those industries in America.
Father, you're contradicting yourself.
Yeah. Yes, I can see that. I'm thinking about it myself.
How long do you think? How long do you think it's gonna take?
5 to 10 years.
An industry,
7 years.
an iron ore smelting plant. How long do you think that's gonna take?
Iron ore smelting plant. If you go full scale, 5 years, you can get it in place.
Okay. Then we're gonna wait for 5 years before we have all the workers.
I speak the truth. Meanwhile, we don't even have the skill manpower.
We don't even have the skills.
Wait, why are you?
America, I think America can enjoy it. If it's 5 years, they can enjoy it.
America can endure.
Why are you people still thinking that the future factories will need human beings?
Why you say you were bringing? I thought you said
maybe. Why do you think that?
Okay,
why do you think?
Let's bring other people in. I think this debate has gone.
Let me say something.
I agree, but why do you think that bringing it back will lead to more work then?
So,
can I say something?
Yes.
You know, in Newark right now, Newark Airport, flights have been delayed for 6 days now. You know the reason? Because of part of Trump's policy, where air traffic controllers have been, So what you have now is that you don't have experienced people, in FAA and the ATF, air traffic controllers manning the airport. So you have delays, and that's also impacting negatively on the economy. The point is that this is part of Trump's policy, and just in line with what we're talking about. This is a capitalist system. If you don't think through a policy, first of all, the impact is good. The impact that is going to have on business within your country itself, such as we are having now, is going to be tremendous. So what we are saying is that there's no way in a capitalist system. We're trying to dismiss the factors of demand and supply, because they also play a part in determining how prices go and how the cost of things and so on and so forth.
It's basically about profits. I'm following you. Like, it's basically about profits.
Yeah.
And then you have a moderating. That's why the central bank is there. The Federal Reserve, is there to moderate. Ensure that the economy doesn't just go, spiral and crash. So when we are talking about, I'm just reacting to the policy of what Dexter is saying, that Trump can just put in a policy that will just crash the dollar. That is going to cause a world war, because the dollar is tied to so many transactions internationally and locally, and it's not going to happen, because that will lead to Trump's impeachment. It will definitely lead to. In fact, already now they're talking about impeachment.
So,
let me just share something quickly. Because. So no worry, you're going to come in very soon. KJ, I hope you see your life now. All the trouble you have just caused in the last how many minutes. So let me just share this video. Some people are saying that robots can do a lot of manufacturing. it is possible, and the argument that Dexter made about the UK and the people, IP right holders are still looking to go to this in one other maybe South Korea to go and do their manufacturing. I really find that problematic because the West always go about money all the time instead of worrying about trying to start doing these things themselves. That is a bad idea. When you keep moving things overseas, okay, I'm not arguing for Western people, but I'm just saying, if you have common sense, you have to try to do it yourself, even if you go through the pain of the initial period, if you want to stay at the top. But if you want to play this game where you want to get cheap labor somewhere else, don't blame them. Tomorrow they start doing what China is doing.
What happens when America, let's say by happenstance, they can build an industry tomorrow, okay? America can miraculously build all these smelting plants and all this manufacturing plants. They can and put them together tomorrow by some miracle, and nobody buys your goods. Then what? Then what?
So I think they will buy their goods because the idea of buying goods is that you find it useful.
No, that's not what I said.
So let me jump in here.
Where the noise is coming from.
All right, let me jump in here.
I have to say something.
Hold on, you guys have been talking all day.
I have not said anything. I'm not here to start arguing. Okay, so the thing is, Femi said some things that are very important. And I speak the truth about how when an empire, a global empire like the US, when he made the example like the British Empire, they start spending money on the military, on defense. And that's what we have now. But there's something they omitted, which is very critical. We have an alternative rising block, which is BRICS. I know they mentioned it. But one critical point that is missing is that right now, we are now moving into block great power politics. That's what we are moving towards at the moment. And from there, it will then evolve into a third world war. Currently, there's no war right now. But what we're having now is there's a gradual shift going on. And Trump is playing a pivotal role in that. But it's going to be a slow process. The British, I think the British defense minister said it clearly, that they're going to go to war with Russia in 2026. And I think from now to the next 10 years, they are planning a war with China. It is not a Trump idea. It's a long-term plan. Barack Obama, in fact, if you want to even go all the way back to when this trade war, tariff started, it was not even under Donald Trump. It was under the Democrats. It was under Barack Obama. Barack Obama's administration decided to pivot to China when it comes to military spending. He brought up the idea of let's pivot to East Asia. Let's contain China. Why are they going towards China? Why are they targeting China? It's because China is a rising power. They are a rising power and they see China as a threat. So now they have to contain China and do everything to weaken China. But this policy has led to blowbacks. And these blowbacks are what we're now discussing. I'll stop there. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So Jude is completely right, in his analysis, and I've been listening to everybody. And look, everybody has been having very good input, But I just want to ask a few questions, And it's nice to meet you all again, Happy weekend, and chat room, everybody, It's all good.
Love you. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, so I'm going to ask a question. Who here wants China to be the global power, the superpower? Who in this chat room would be happy to live in Beijing and have Beijing have all the power? Because, it's many times it's good for us to play this theory and dance around it. But, in actual fact, I'm not saying United States is good or the UK is bad. No, let me land now. You got to give me my time, right? Let me land. I'm trying to build something here. But it's part of the argument because this is a trade war. This is war for supremacy. Trump didn't start this war because he just wants to play around. And like Jide said, these guys are trying to decide who's going to be the boss. America is the boss. It's unquestionable. The question is, China is trying to become the boss. And the second question I would like to, one fact we know is that the BRICS countries, the BRICS are completely divided, right? If you know, see, those guys in BRICS are all running to become vice president. That's what they're trying to do. Who's going to outwit? China is second. India has a population of 1.46 billion. China has 1.41. So India has now more population than China. All the guys, look at Google and everybody, they're Indians now. Used to be Chinese and all those guys. Do you think India is waiting for China to displace US and then India will bow to China, who have been kind of suppressing them? They've been having like border wars. India doesn't like China very much. India would rather be second and push China away. And, I think I speak the truth. Or someone said, oh no, if America builds all this, if, let's say, of course, they can build the industries, but America does not need to build the industries. All those jobs are never going to come back. Someone talked about AI. Someone talked about, robots. You showed some pictures. I'll tell you something. No, in the law of business or economics, there is demand and supply. Guess what? There's somebody who's always right when you go to shop to buy something. It's the customer, the person who has the money. Guess what? Everybody in this world, even our little Nigeria, all of you, are you not trying to do what China is doing? Everybody wants to become China. What China is doing, look, China is playing the game. Yeah, of course, they are playing. We like China. But I'll tell you something. India is waiting for their turn to become China. Well, they're already. All the Apple, whatever Apple was doing, they're moving it to India. Why are we talking about Vietnam now? All the Asian countries, even African countries, if they consider us, they want to do what China is doing. What is China doing? Somebody talked about China showing all Balenciaga and all the stuff. And that's the problem with China. There's no originality. What is China has to,
let me ask you though, I hear what you are saying.
Let me finish. Now you have to let me finish.
I want to ask you a question now. I want to ask you a question. Historically, is there any correlation between what you are arguing now in terms of, especially when you look at this thing when powers come down and others rise? Because I'm not seeing the kind of pattern here showing up. What I'm seeing is the powers will still remain the powers, but they may just realign a little bit. But if you have any correct one difference, you let me know.
No, definitely. So I'll tell you something. I've always argued that the Roman Empire has not fallen. These guys are still the children of the Roman Empire. America is still Europe, it's still their brother, right? It's still Hispania, Britannia, Germania, who are the people in G7, right? They are the children of the Roman Empire. Still the same empire that has not fallen. You think they are going to just see, people think that China is just going to go to Spain and England and then they will take away business from everybody. Yeah, Trump is a little obnoxious. Canada is not happy. This guy is going to make up, man. In 2 years, Trump will be out. Trump will disrupt things. And even for the good of things, make their brothers get more money, get armor. But let's go back to history. Anybody that thinks that you can displace an empire or like without a war is joking. People are thinking, oh, you think America is going to give off the dollar dominance to these BRIC countries or to whoever, and then you dethrone them, then you're not going to go a third world war? Then you don't know what, the only thing
so what
that
you are saying now, is that not a problem though? Because this
no,
is
I'm not saying
you are describing a potential fate of annihilation in the world. Because if there is a war, what do you think is going to happen?
But we humans are not nice people. We've never been nice.
Well, are you predicting the destruction of civilization now? Is
No,
that what
it depends on now. The only way, I'm not predicting if you don't think we're going to have a big war soon, then you have to start thinking
because you have to reach the natural conclusion of what you're saying.
That's what I'm trying to do, if you allow me. I'm trying to get to, remember, after the Roman Empire, the people that kind of took them apart a little bit. We had a little bit of the Ottoman Empire that came in and did. The Ottoman Empire,
the Byzantines.
The Byzantine, is kind of a little bit of the Roman Empire, but yeah, I'll give you that, Byzantine. And then we have the Ottoman Empire. That was really the Muslim empire that kind of disrupted things, took away Jerusalem, which everybody had. Anybody that had controlled Jerusalem or Israel, has been like kind of the power for time being. We know for the past 2,000 years. It's kind of common knowledge.
It was actually the Byzantine and the Germanic tribes, but we can move on.
Well, let's not waste our time. Let me land. It took the First World War to take the Ottomans out. There was no way you're going to remove the Ottomans without a war. It was a world war. The First World War was what kicked them out, and what we have as all the Palestine or the whatever Treaty of Palestine. Now, guess what? These guys had to go and fight a Second World War when Germany built up. Germany was not going to bother UK, Britain so much. They're an island. Germany was going to do their thing, just take over a little bit of Europe and
where did you get that from? They were already bombing the UK. What are you talking about?
No, but if UK decided, because UK was meddling, remember who signed the Treaty of Versailles? It was the UK who was collecting tax, and America. They were collecting tax from Germany. I don't want to go too much because you asked about history.
And France, okay.
France, they ran over France. France is not. I'm just saying the people that stood stood against Germany after it's Britain. Germany was run over. I'm sorry. France was run over quickly. It's not. They're not. All this France making noise. It's just one time. Russia will just go there and take everything. See, the point for me is this: you cannot become a new empire without defeating the other empire. In a war, someone said America, how empires fall is that they start arming. That's not actually very correct. Empires, to remain an empire, you have to continuously arm more than the other people. That's what Rome did. They would take slaves and continue to find a way to modernize their, weaponry and all that. You can't become America.
Then how would you say an empire actually falls?
Sorry,
how do you say? Because the British Empire fell.
No. Empires fall from within. Empires.
Don't go too far. Hold on. At Washington Post, now if you can go to Washington Post, go read what is just published. China has quietly dropped some of those some product from those tariffs. Go and read it.
Let me just round up. I'll round up within 1 minute. I'll round up in 1 minute.
America has done the same thing.
How do you explain
I'll round up in 1 minute.
The American Empire. How do they fit into your analysis?
I mentioned demand and supply. China, what is China doing? They're just providing labor. America has people in China are not buying stuff. Guess what? Who is buying stuff? It's people from the West. You can produce all you want. You eat your products. Nobody cares. People have to buy it. Now, there are people are being laid off in China. It's not easy for them too, because people talk about China as if it's one utopian kind of... people are suffering in China. They're making goods and they can't sell it to anybody. Nobody can purchase their goods. So, and guess what? Why do you think, Xi is going from Japan to what? Japan was number 2. Do you think Japan, have you met a regular Japanese person? He believes he's superior to Caucasian, not to talk of Chinese. They don't even look at Chinese people. So Japan is waiting for their turn. They are arming now. Germany is arming. So you think these people are going to leave seed number 1 spot? Oh, China, come and become superior and then we'll bow before you. BRICS, what is it? Brazil, India, Russia. India hates China even more than the US, right? Brazil doesn't care about China. They want to have their own destiny. Russia believes Mother Russia. Are you serious? An average Russian and a Chinese, they are going to subordinate. Russia is just using China to see if they can cling to something. So my point
from
is that
history, does history not suggest that
I
neighboring
think that's not the
countries?
case.
Let
That's
me
not the
just
case
let me
at
let me just
all, at
ask the
all.
question.
That's not
At
the
all, at
case.
all.
I think
Let me just
that's
ask the question
You're
now.
getting
Does
it so
history
wrong,
not
man.
suggest? Does history not suggest that neighboring nations, even if they don't like each other, eventually come together to band against people that are more distant? If you look at European countries, they don't like each other as much, but they band with each other against other regions.
but they have to
And
go to war. They have to go to war.
That point that you
when
made.
you keep saying war,
Yeah.
you are scaring me.
Hold on.
Any war that happens now is going to, it might be our last.
Forefather, please,
we have to
1
be
minute,
careful.
please. I need to go back,
Okay,
please.
yeah,
I need
go
to
ahead.
correct something. Thank you. Nice. I love the analysis, even GD analysis. But before now, I was driving. I was hearing some fake news here. We need to be careful. People are listening. Somebody was saying that, oh, the stock market has recovered. I wanted to actually ask the person, which stock did you buy that has recovered since February? What happened? Stock went down. See, Trump took over power. The stock market dropped over $11 trillion. You are just getting peanut from that. And somebody was saying stock has. We need this information. We should not put out there. People are watching. I even heard Father himself.
Hold on. Let me just share this information. I don't know whether I'm wrong, but is this, can you read
let
that?
me break it
No,
down for
the
you.
stock market has recovered, though.
Hold on. No, Father, hold on, please. Hold on.
Because I didn't just make it up. I actually went with the information that is available.
Hold on. S&P dropped since 1957 when the S&P was created. It has never dropped under any precedent in the history of S&P. S&P dropped. It was all-time high at 617. It dropped down to 500. What you have gotten now, as I yesterday, it was at 560 something. These are numbers. Anybody that is claiming stock market has recovered, tell me one stock you bought since January that has recovered as of today. Tell me one. Let Father pull it up on Google. I will show the map. So I will tell you this February 1st, this is the price. At today, this is the price. Tell me one stock you bought. You got
it's quite specific, AY. It's quite specific, AY. They are saying that the tariff. Hold on, they are saying that the recovery is based on the tariff one, not necessarily from when Trump got into office.
Bro,
during the tariff,
the tariff one, conflict. That is what I'm referring to. Stock market has not recovered.
So they are lying.
They are lying. Anybody that say that is lying.
Okay,
I'm gonna
that's
put it
that's
out
an
there.
opinion. And
if you agree, it's not opinion. It's not opinion. If you are saying that, tell me one stock you have in your portfolio. Let's pull it out. Let people see.
Where do you think we are here? Do you
Bro,
think we are stock brokers?
No, I'm just.
Why are you asking us what
So you're gonna be arguing with a trader?
No, I have to argue with it. I have to go with the people that are releasing the news that are of higher level. So
okay, why don't you try Ford Motors? Ford. Look at Ford. Ford Motors. Ford.
We can look at stocks
Pull
of
out Ford. Open Ford.
Ford.
Let's see
Yeah.
how we can
Let's see
find
how
this.
it recover.
Ford. Let's say Ford Motors stocks.
See,
okay.
if you want to determine stock has recovered, you are talking of S&P, you are talking of NASDAQ, you are talking of the ETF, the big guys.
You can even type in Ford Motors GM's interview, okay, where he was talking about tariff. Go, you can look at it. Those things are there.
But remember, he also quickly rolled back on some of those tariff because of the parts. You remember?
Yes, I'm talking as I yesterday.
Let's look at the stock motors. This thing is stocks. This is a 6 month projection. This is so far. So we are looking at this started from somewhere around 10 point something US dollars and ended up in May 10.8. 10.8 there, 28. I mean 10.38. So slightly lower, but that's from 6 months ago. But if you go from a month ago, it's higher now.
Father, hold on. Ford is not a stock. When you're talking of anybody that trades stock, Ford is not a stock. Bring up any tech stock.
You just asked which stock. No, hold on. AY, you just asked. calm down. Now let me just make my point. Let me make my point. You can still talk. I'm not going to stop you.
Go ahead.
The question I wanted to ask you, you asked who has bought stock at so time and has recovered now. I'm just showing you one that is happening right now.
Forefather, this is not a stock. I'm telling you.
What is this one,
do you trade stock? Let me ask you a direct question.
For me?
What is this?
Open S&P for them. Open
I do have a lot of stock. I have many, I'll tell you.
This one is not stock. What is this? I don't understand.
Forefather, you don't get it. If anybody
tell me what it is now. Don't tell me I don't understand. Just tell me what it is.
Hold on, Forefather. I'm not saying it's not a stock in the market. Hold on. Anybody that trades stock, that buys stock in stock market will not tell you stock market has recovered. Nobody will tell you that.
But you can't just say that, though. You can't just say that. You don't have any evidence of what you're saying.
Hold on. Open S&P.
Okay, S&P. Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah, open S&P. I see the drop. You don't use Ford. What is Ford? Ford is garbage. Open S&P.
No, how can you say you said you wanted one particular stock?
S&P will eat in my life. We have to be careful when we are saying some of this because okay. AY, let's calm down. Let's go to S&P. We have to go with data here. We are all highly intellectual, and so people actually own stocks here. So let's keep it. Okay, look at the price. This is 6 months.
Let me see what you open. Please.
Okay, look at that. S&P.
No. Go back. Look.
Which one is this one again now?
SPY. Yeah.
Historic high since 2004.
Why? That's it.
Yeah.
Spy stock. Hey, this is gonna go well. Okay, spy stock. Okay.
Historic high since
in the last
2004.
6 months.
Last month, this is higher than this point.
You guys don't listen.
6 months is almost level. Okay, yeah, I think it's okay. Look at 566.7.
But check where it dropped from. Can you go to around February?
February, we are looking at 600, and that's the fair point to raise at that point.
Move forward. So let me explain this to you.
But anyway, stop there. When I told you that the trade war, because I think the trade war started sometime, when did it start? Where it really got crystal, it was around April. That's when it really got heavy. And look at the stock around that period. Maybe that's what they are referring to by the recovery. It's just this period they are referring to, not the entire thing.
Forefather, hold on, please. Black Beauty is on the comment section. She is putting her information. They said QQQVO. These are ETF stock. Now go to top tech stock. Tesla, Ample, Amazon. Go to all the big stock. Go to Tesla.
Everybody hates Tesla now. This is the problem.
Check Nvidia. Check Nvidia.
Nvidia.
No. When you say check Nvidia now, you know what you're doing. You can't do that. Nvidia crashed before the trade war.
Let's check top.
Let's check Nvidia. Actually, I'm quite surprised by what I'm seeing. Okay, Nvidia went down over 6 months.
You can't check Nvidia now. You shouldn't do that.
When we check it, let's check Nvidia. Hold on, let's calm down. Check Nvidia.
No, you can't check Nvidia.
Go Tesla.
No. I think the same pattern still repeats itself. I think the point that trade that BBC report.
They have a point. They have a
point. He knows what I'm saying. He can't just ask him to use Nvidia or even Tesla.
Oh my, can we just calm down? See, the pattern repeats itself. If you look at it in April, there was a drop, massive drop, and this recovery is the one they are talking about. They are not talking about the last how many months that Trump had, Biden had, and Trump came and destroyed it. You are right that when Trump came into office, there was you look at this precipitous drop that you are looking at there. Then he went back up a little bit, and then he went crazy again and started doing crazy stuff and started going down. But when the tariff stuff became hot, in my mind, it's sometime around April. That's when it really got heavy. And look at the drop you saw there, and so then look at the recovery now. So the recovery now is what I'm looking at. This is 110, 114. That is what they are talking about. They're not talking about the entire thing.
Forefather, if you ever trade store, trade forex, you will know a little movement. That's big money. When you see $2 movement, that is money in millions.
So what's the point? What's your point?
You don't say stock market has not recovered. It's still hanging in there. It has not recovered.
It has,
Don't
you,
make
when
that
you,
mistake.
you have to contextualize it. You know, like the lady said last week. That I actually
Contextualize what?
you have to contextualize it that it has not
Bro,
recovered
America
from when Biden was in office. Come
I
on,
heard-
you can't say from
Hold
this
on,
in from
hold
April
on.
it hasn't recovered. It
That
has
was why I
recovered from
kept
April.
saying 2004.
Hold
The
on.
S&P
If you
has
even
been
listen
on
to
an
Femi,
historic.
Femi was trying to tell you, look, US dollar is down like 3 years down. People need to put fact out there. These numbers are down. No, it's not funny. American GDP is tagging as we speak. Even the next forecast is going down. CEO are crying.
That's true.
People are laying off right now.
They're laying off, yeah.
What are you guys talking about? Like, I
So
don't know
what
the kind
about
of
China?
jobs,
What's
but you-
happening in China? What's happening in China?
Yeah, I support your argument with China. No country is better, but here is
And
what I'm
China
going to
has the, sorry, AY, China has the ability to absorb the way Americans can't. By the way,
Here is one thing I'm going to put out there.
Very true.
Canada, they were calling Canada depending on US. Canadian dollar is like 3 years high right now. Apart from that, hold on, let me finish this.
But which
Canada
is
just
not good for the
elected.
Canadian
Let me
economy.
finish this. Let me finish this. I'm going to leave now. Canada just elected
The liberals.
Harvard-trained economists, a PhD in economics from Oxford, somebody that have led CBN in Canada, back of England, is the first non-British citizen that ended back of England. It's Mexico, they have a PhD holder in engineering. Now, America elects a criminal, a con man.
Oh no, come on, yeah, that's a low ball now.
You will do to them.
No, let me tell you
agree with your
something.
point. I'm not a fan of China at all.
No. Let me say something, you guys. You see, it's like Canada is like Burkina Faso electing a Harvard trained. It's still going to be highest. Maybe it will move from Ali Mosho local government economy to Ikeja local government economy. I love Burkina Faso. I'm just saying that Canada is still like a state in the United States. You know, it's not. They can do anything. The policy
Canada is
of
not
whatever.
like a state. Don't say that. It's not.
What are you saying? California
It's
is the fourth or fifth biggest economy in the world. You're talking about Canada. Canada, who's talking about? Look at Canada. Where's their GDP? Where is Canada? Canada is like, it's not even up to Texas or California. What are you saying?
Yes.
Why are we
In
insulting
terms
Canada
of
now?
population,
Canada,
No,
what has
I'm
Canada
just saying,
done now?
you know, I'm just trying to tell you that the governor of California has more power in this world than the prime minister of Canada. It's a fact. You know, and it's just a fact.
I thought we were just trying to find out why whether Trump
No.
was doing the right
He
thing by
said he's talking about, and look, we agree on most things here. My point is, people are talking about this as if, America, watch next week, America will be gone and collapsed. I think, most of these guys.
Okay, America is world power. America is going nowhere easily like that.
Okay,
It's not
then
going to
we
fall
agree.
easily.
Then
Come on.
we agree.
America is not.
But then
America is America.
the effect
Trump
is
is
going to
not
have
America.
long term. The effect of what is doing, what is going to have long term is what some of us are concerned about.
Yeah, I okay. Let's leave this for now because I think this is not going to end if we keep going
like
on.
America or you don't like it. America, they are the big boys. There is no doubt. You don't argue that. But Trump is messing up the system.
One thing
I will say for sure is that India will find it difficult to see the scale at which Trump this in what they call it. Sorry about that.
India
China
will find it difficult to do what?
Have you been to
China? This in China.
Have you been to China?
But that's what they're trying to do.
I at least I have heard of the numbers, and the numbers, the dominance of China is so almost complete that for India to replace, India has a lot of societal issues to deal with than to even contemplate replacing China.
Please, let me just put this out there. Remember I told you at the beginning I was going to put real out some facts. Please go check this out. If I do not know any other thing, at least I can speak very competently to the technology domain. Have you ever heard of Harmony OS before?
No.
As an example. To Audi, I mean no disrespect, but China has been going it all alone on a lot of things. Do you know about the Tanyong space, what's it called? The equivalent of the International Space Station.
Yeah, they have it. Yeah, they have
Please
their
go
own.
check it out. And in addition, go look at the coverage area of their bullet trains. Go look at out there leading in 5 and 6.
Yeah, they are too way ahead of so many people.
See, there's some things I don't argue about, but you see that technology domain, which is where the knowledge base is taking us to now. Just go check out what they're doing, and you will know that America is playing second fiddle. Forget about all this.
Yeah, but hold on, let me ask though. I am beginning to think. Okay, you have a point. China, in terms of on paper, is ahead on so many levels. But the area China,
in reality.
Okay, fine. The point I'm making is that the America can make up for that ground, because there's a reason why these people have endured so long. My worry is that China is not playing the kind of game America is playing, and America may use against. What I mean by that is that if you look at America now, yes, individually they may not seem very powerful, but by the time they link up with Europe, they link up with India,
well, you're also alienating them. Forefathers, again, mark this date, May 5th, I believe. The Europeans are having a meeting with China. And to whoever said China is begging Japan, the Japanese Prime Minister actually went to China 2 weeks ago or thereabouts. And what Xi Jinping is doing, the people I pay attention to now, I don't pay attention to mainstream media, people that play in international politics, that are Americans, that have been warning America for decades, but America refuses to listen, both Democrats and Republicans. Now, all of the talk that Xi had 2 weeks ago to Malaysia, Cambodia, Vietnam, part of what they're doing, which America doesn't seem to pay, because a lot of Americans don't understand the world.
Let me give you a reason why you should doubt that. Let me give you a reason why you should doubt Europeans going to China to get any kind of good deal. Let me give you a reason to doubt it, because they could have done that with the Soviet Union, they could have done that with Russia, but they didn't do that.
But they already had a meeting with Xi.
What makes you think that they will do that with China? Don't trust that. That one, don't worry about it. They will come back to America.
Americans don't understand.
When I say
understand,
Canada is going to be on the side of America, Europe is going to be on the side of America.
They don't trust America the way we're going. They don't trust America anymore.
When the chips are down, when the chips are down, Dexter, when the chips are down, when the chips are down, Europe will be with America, Canada will be with America, Australia will be with America, and maybe South America, Central America will be with America. And that is the game. I'm worried.
Do you know what you described?
America has too much influence in those areas. That's the game China is not playing.
Forefather, you just described the Roman.
You've threatened to take over Greenland.
Yes.
You are trying to destroy their economy by imposing tariffs. You are killing confidence in the alliance that has been built for over 75 years.
Yes.
And you think that these people will come back and become subordinate to you.
I think they will. I think they will.
You have chosen not to fund NATO. These are things that you do. So when you take all these things into context, there is no way America is recovering from the disaster that has been Donald Trump.
This is why it's good to read history.
Until there is a new person at the helm of the affairs, because this guy
just 4 years difference. That's what you're talking about. They're going to return back.
He's not living in 4 years. If you guys are sitting on here,
this
guy is going anywhere.
He's going to go.
So
he's not going anywhere in 4 years.
I speak the truth.
And prepare for a civil war.
I'll tell you something. No, there's not going to be any civil war. Let me tell you something. There are folks here.
After I declare that there's going to be a world war, there's going to end up all wars.
No. There are folks here. There are folks here that have been talking about, Americans. Americans can't withstand what the Chinese are able to withstand. Guess what? These guys have been doing this for so many years. The Japanese thought that Americans would not be able, they saw them laid back, these guys are gone, and they attacked Pearl Harbor. What happened? People, all the obese guys, they went to sign up. This country is a country that is built on freedom. People will fight. The people who will disorganize China will be from within China. It's not from...
So why aren't they fighting for that freedom right now?
Oh, no, hold on. You know what happened with Pearl Harbor? You know what? The Japanese felt, look, These guys they're too lazy. They can't, and that's the way people are seeing Americans now.
America probably
Trust me, by the time you touch the tail of the tiger and push America, if America feels back to the wall, everybody's going to sign up and everybody's going to fight for the freedom and for the country. And all their brothers, part of the Roman Empire that forefathers mentioned, are going to join them. You think they are going to join one Asian guy to now fight against their brother? Then maybe think again, my brother.
Odi, have you ever seen anything that's constant but change?
Always come back.
Have you ever seen anything that's constant but change, including empires? Thank
you. We agree the empire has changed, but I'm just saying that the Roman Empire hasn't changed for 2,000 years.
Let's add this now. Tell me one European country that backed any other race against their own people, especially after
there's always a first time for everything, especially when you have a leader like Trump in charge of the United States of America. Okay, so alliances can change at any time. Don't think you bully me all. If you were my friend and tomorrow you are showing me that you are no longer my friend, it is only imperative that I will side with wherever my interest lies. So if there was a conflict tomorrow, which I don't see how any conflict, military conflict, is coming into play anytime soon. But if there was a conflict tomorrow, which we have seen with the economic wars everybody is waging against each other, Europe will have no choice as it stands but to go against the United States. So
let me show you something. Let me show you something that this is why
you believe that the UK will go against the United States.
Exactly. This is why I doubt everything you are all saying. Now let me just show you. These are defense packs. These are defense packs around the world.
Did white people don't fight themselves as barbarians?
Absolute bollocks.
Let's calm down. This is not trade war. This is not one president insulting another president or trying to invade another country. These are concrete document agreements that nations have had with each other. And if you look at them, the rate of which they are having, look at all these countries. All of them are lining up with America. And look at the North Atlantic one. They are all lining up.
Agreement is only as good or respected as the paper it is written on. Yes. If someone rips it off or violates the terms, that's it is.
Isn't Trump trying to take America away from NATO?
My problem is that it is too strong. The bonds between these people are too strong for them to totally turn against America.
You are missing something.
They are fought as barbarians in the past as well.
The Europeans never.
You are missing something.
You have to move the discussion.
I don't know why everybody is so passionate about this one. One at a time.
You guys are missing something. You guys are missing something.
World War I, and we'll get to what we're missing. Hold on, let me say what we're not missing. So, didn't the Europeans have a bond in World War I and World War II, but they still went on an apocalypse tirade trying to destroy
each other? Yes, not outsiders.
But hey, I speak the truth. You're still missing something. That's what I'm trying to say. So the thing is, for America, for instance, say, they have strong alliance with the UK and say they want to go against the UK. There's something we are all missing, and that's ideology. These guys, they are tied together for a very long time because we need to understand ideology, political, economic ideology. They tie these people. That's what ties these people together. And one thing you need to understand about the West, if you understand Western politics, is that everything that they do, their policy, their decisions, everything they do, even geopolitical policies, it is influenced by ideology. So it's not like, they will form alliance with UK, with France, right? And they'll suddenly say that France is their enemy. No, it doesn't work that way. They can decide to target China, and at the same time, they can decide to form alliance with China. These are strategic plans. These are strategic positions towards China and Russia. It does not mean that Russia and China are their friends at all. They are not. Everything is based on ideology. China and Russia cannot form alliance with America, France, Spain, England, and go and bomb Iran. You know why that cannot happen? That cannot happen because they have difference in ideology. They have difference.
No, that's not true. They did it in Biafra. That's not true. They did it in Biafra.
That's
You
true.
said they cannot. I'm
That's
just
true.
trying
Don't
to
take
tell
things
you
out of
when it
context.
happened now. Is
No,
it not true?
that's not true. France supported Biafra, so that's not true. Please don't try to counter me. That's a
No,
different
no.
thing entirely.
Russia, all of them. Come on.
Not all of them. France supported Biafra. Israel supported Biafra. That was a completely different. That fight was not based on
But they
ideology.
made a deal later,
That's
and all of them
different.
went on the same side.
That's different. That was not an ideological war. That's a different war. I'm talking about something.
No, you said they can never now. Now, so you don't use the word
They
never.
were not against each other. France and UK are they against each other? They can both of them.
But even you're shooting yourself in the foot. The question between Europe and America, who are ideologically alike? Europe and China, they have no ideology.
In the foot. No, I'm not shooting myself in the
Oh,
foot.
see, let me share a more detailed.
You don't understand what I'm saying.
Let's share a more detailed fact.
Make the point now.
Hold on, let's calm down. This is not opinion based. This is not opinion based. Let's look at agreements that happened even last year. Just look at this. This is too much, man. It's crazy. These people are crazy. They keep signing agreements with each other, and they're already allies. Oh, look at this one are military alliances that they are signing. Look at this is 2025. They are still doing it.
Let me
look at the nations that are involved.
Let me ask you a question.
Just look at the nations that are involved, so you understand what I'm talking about.
Before World War II, right? Did Germany and France have a treaty barring them from fighting each other?
Germany and France.
Yeah.
I don't remember that. No.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did.
They had a treaty in They had the Treaty of Locarno in 1925. But still,
1925. Okay, that's okay. Yeah, probably.
But still, Germany invaded France.
Yeah, that they should not attack each other, non-defense alliance.
Well, it was for peace in Europe. So basically, that it encompasses everything. It says we're not going to attack. If I ask for peace, I mean, we're saying we're not going to attack each other. We're going to be cool. We're going to be friends. But still,
they were not friends.
If they have defense alliance, they know what Germany is doing. They don't know what Germany is doing. They didn't have a defense alliance. Sorry. See. I speak the truth. Let me just share information that is not coming from opinion.
Something that you have not read.
No, because I know it's not a defense pact. If it was a defense pact,
it is a treaty saying we're going to have peace in Europe.
That this treaty is saying that we should not attack each other. That is all it says. It doesn't say that we are cooperating.
If we say we are not going to fight,
because we are not. That's a promise not to attack you. That's not a promise that we can cooperate. We can verify it.
What is a defense pact? A defense pact simply means I will come to your aid if somebody else attacks you.
No, it involves more than that. No? Just let me say get one word out. It involves more than that, because to enforce that defense pact, you need to have a common architecture in terms of the way you operate.
You're using a lot of.
Oh my God! Okay. Let me give you let's say the standard protocol that they use in NATO. You can't have a defense pact if you don't use the same protocol, because if they want to communicate with you, they can't communicate with you. They have different ways of interacting.
What you're just doing is word salad, okay? A defense pact.
Oh my God, this guy. Okay, let's leave that. Let's leave
that. To clear this thing, I'm saying this.
What is the point of having a defense pact if you cannot communicate information when you have to fight for each other?
And it makes sense to me. It makes sense to me. I'm saying this.
Hold on, Jide. Let's just deal with it first. Jide, let me deal with I speak the truth first. See
everything you're showing us. Okay, the bottom line is what we're arguing is, can allies turn against each other? That is the bottom line of what we're saying. Right or wrong?
Allies generally.
Can allies turn. Hold on.
Allies can turn against each other, of course.
No, I didn't ask we've seen that all through history. Oh my God! I'm not asking the question. I'm saying that is the basis of what we're trying to figure out now. That is what we're arguing. Can allies in situations turn against each other? Right or wrong?
Yes, they can. Okay, allies can turn against each other.
I'm not asking a question, Jide. Please. I'm talking to forefathers. I'm not asking you if they can. We know for all intents and purposes they can. You saying they can't. I'm saying what we are discussing right now is, can allies turn against each other? Is that what we're discussing? Yes or no?
We are discussing that, yes. To an
Thank
extent.
you. So we're arguing now if Europe can eventually turn against America, right or wrong.
Yes.
But right now,
Okay,
that's not
and
going to be the
Oh,
case.
calm down, Najide. Let's just finish one area first.
And then you're saying you're pulling up these treaties and all these defense pacts saying, well, this is why they can't. And I'm saying, well, it is not an anomaly. They can because it happened prior to World War II, which actually, outside of what kicked off with Germany and Poland, was the German invasion of Paris. Right or wrong? That's what we're discussing
Yes.
now.
You see.
Okay, so I'm saying
Can you let
there
me
was
add
a
to it?
treaty. Hold on, let me land with this because we had to figure out what we're talking about instead of us just howling. So I'm saying prior to World War II, in 1935, in 1925, there was a treaty, the Treaty of Locarno, between Germany and France. And I think there were several other countries in Europe which said Europe will not fight each other. It was for a treaty for peace in Europe. But the Third Reich, led by Adolf Hitler, still went ahead and violated that treaty and sparked off World War II. So all of this doesn't matter, is what I'm telling you.
It just says that they need to maintain peace, like African countries have a peace treaty in terms of with the African Union not to attack each other. That is different from like the way NATO operates now as a defense organization.
Thank you very much, forefathers.
Oh my God! Can I just get one word through, please? This is important because when nations form defense alliances, they share information like that AES now that they have defense alliance. They have to share information with each other. One cannot just go and start war with when you don't have a way of organizing. This is why they carry out military exercises and all those things. That is not what Germany and France was doing at that time. There's a difference. And what the reason why technically you are correct that allies can turn against each other any moment. We've seen it with Saddam Hussein and America and all the rest of it. However, not when you have to look at the threshold, the requirements that it needs to get to that point where they turn against each other. The way Europeans are behaving, the chances of them doing that is so high. It's so hard.
Let me ask you a question.
They tie each other up in so many defense packs. You don't even know how deep
which one is more important? A defense pact. There's 4 countries. Say there's 4 countries. Okay. Which one is more important? A defense pact between 2 of those countries or a peace treaty amongst all 4?
Repeat that again.
Good. Which is more important? There's 4 countries on the table, okay? Which is more important? A defense pact between 2 of those countries or a peace treaty amongst all 4 of those countries?
Which one is more important? It depends on the context. That's a no answer question.
A peace treaty is more important. No matter how you want to skirt around it, we're not going to fight against each other.
It depends on the context. They could start a war the next day.
All 4 of us are not going to fight against each other versus these 2 say if anybody attacks, we're going to attack that person.
It depends on the size of the 2 and the nature of the 2.
Those
2 can maintain more peace than the 4 signing peace agreement. The context matters. You can't just make that kind of blanket statement.
The Locarno Treaty was not a peace
I understand
treaty.
this. Like, I understand this.
The Treaty of Locarno was
I
not
can
stated
explain
as
this
a
if
peace
you give me
treaty.
the time. I totally understand all this strategic.
You see, James, Jide will give you a chance to break all these things down. The only reason why I was trying to highlight this point is that if you look at the agreements that are going on, nations that are already allies, some of them are even part of NATO, they are signing deeper and deeper and deeper alliances. The way this thing, if you look at the structure of the way the shape of the world, the way it's shaping up, I don't see them overnight turning and anytime soon anyway. Maybe they could later on in the future. I don't see it anytime soon. They just turn and go to the side of this in China. They wouldn't even be that effective because the structure of their defense is so woven together, interwoven together. This is not something you can just untangle overnight. I don't see that happening anytime soon. I really don't.
Let me just make one point here. You know, everything you guys said is completely correct. But you see, many people have been talking about China trying to dump US bonds and all that. One of the things that you people forget is that China does not want the yuan to be strong. If China, if the dollar drops, the yuan is going to go up. You know, they don't want that, and they can't sell anything. China is not a consuming country; it's a producing country. This Azonto about China is, I think, is, and meanwhile, anybody that sides with China is going to make China number one. You think Germany wants to make China the superpower? Then think again. It's like thinking that, oh, if you elect Trump, you're punishing the Democrats, and then Gaza will be free. If you thought that way, then continue thinking this way. You know, Trump is there, he's doing his thing. You know, we know how these things, alliances are alliances. People are going to stay with each other. It's like trying to break off Egypt from Saudi Arabia. It's going to be very difficult to do that. You know, Iran has been opposed to the other Islamic world based on what? Based on religion. These guys are Christians, you know, in that quote. They are tied by that bond of Christianity. Did you see when Pope died, that little man from Argentina, when he died, everybody went there. You know, you think they are brothers, it's the same gig. But it's so difficult to tell these people, you know. Oh, let me just
I don't understand how they can even think that China and Europe, they watch, look at, just give you an example now. They watch Europe, go on the side of America, when even America went, okay, allegedly destroyed the pipeline between Europe and Russia.
Nord Stream 2.
And Nord Stream, this pipeline. They watched America bullied Europe into supporting Ukraine and all the rest. And Europeans are falling in line every single time. Even with with Israel, most of them are falling in line. You think that so now they are watching their own people getting killed because of it? Yeah, they fall in line. They watch Germany economy was affected by it, yet they fall in line. And you think they will sacrifice all that for China? I don't think so.
See, let me explain the reason why a lot of these Western European countries are absorbed into America's emblem. So after the Second World War, after Europe was weakened, America took the initiative as the strongest country at that time, because I think they were probably one of the fewest countries that were not affected by that war, by the damage of the Second World War. America was not. So they took their opportunity to make sure that they absorbed Western Europe, because they already share a lot of ideology, like I said. And at that time, the communist Soviet Union, they were actually gaining momentum after they defeated Germany at that time. They were moving west to East Germany. And they realized that if they do not absorb Western Europe at that time, the communists within Western Europe would take over the whole of Western Europe. And what does that mean? That means that Western Europe will now be the enemy of America. You understand what I mean? So America had to take the initiative, which was very smart, because there were communist parties in Italy, there were communist parties in France, in Spain. Eventually, I mean, Nazi was still in Spain at that time. But when America took those countries, they took those countries through an operation called Operation Gladio.
What's the point of all
this? The point I'm making, listen, don't interrupt me. The point I'm making is that the reason why they formed this alliance is they share ideology, number one. Number two, a lot of European agenda and goals and policy is actually manifested with the US. So US can go and bomb one country. It is still European alliance. It is still European alliance. But people say that it is the US. Europe would raise their hand and say we are not involved. But actually, it is the US that is now perpetuating the aggression of Western Europe. But they still share the same ideology. That's why a lot of us don't understand. That's why it's that when it comes to anything that has to do with military intervention, either Europe completely absorb itself or they actually cooperate with the US. They don't go against the US. Go and check it. Is it the war in Vietnam? Is it the war in Iraq? The war in Iraq, they were against, but they could not fight America because America is their ally. I can give so many other examples. So the point I'm making is that these countries, they share ideology, they share military alliance, and it's going to be very difficult for them to break. I think the end of Western imperialism will be when America and all these countries begin to disintegrate as a unit. But currently, that's not happening right now.
Jide,
for
can I
that.
ask you a
Thank you for
question?
the summary.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, yes.
Can I ask a question? First of all,
Yes.
my question is this: 2 questions. Why are we so focused on this, on the disintegration of West or whoever the superpower is? Number 2, in the event that if America, if Western power disintegrates today, within the next 10 years, so of what benefit will it be to the African race? How will the African race benefit? How would Nigeria benefit? Is the African race in any way ready to take up any form of mantle of leadership?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I will answer it. So first of all, I'm not after anybody disintegrating. What I'm saying is the results for these countries to go against each other, they have the beginning of the end of this alliance will be when they disintegrate. But as a unit, they share the same foreign policy. They share the same foreign policy because they embrace the same cultural, political, economic, and military ideology. We need to understand that. That's number one. Number 2, how will it help Africa? The thing is, we need to understand that after the Second World War, when Europe became much weaker, America took control of many parts of Africa, but it was a different form of colonization. But at the same time, like I said, they're like a cult. They are united. Because of the weakness of Western Europe, America took control through their institutions like IMF and World Bank and through their multinational corporations. That was how they took control of Africa. So if Western Europe, if America and the Western Europe, the alliance, if it declines, it will benefit Africa because they will not be able to wage that aggression on Africa. And what does that mean? Russia and China will have more influence on Africa. That's what that means.
So Jide, you just contradicted yourself here. Benefiting Africa cannot be about Russia and China having more influence in Africa. That doesn't benefit us in any way.
No, I'm not saying it's benefiting us.
The question, but that was the summary of your.
Yeah, but let me add.
No, but that was the summary.
Let's slow down. Hold on, slow down. I think when I feel like I have something to add, I will add. Hold on for a second. Jesus Christ, hold on for a second. You are not running anywhere. Okay, we are running somewhere actually. There's a show coming up, as you can see. The ladies segment is a special segment. You have to attend it. If I didn't say this, they will kill me. So I have to read this.
We read the message.
Yes, I have to read it. So, but the point is that it doesn't necessarily mean a negative thing if another player becomes more active on the continent, because it's like going to a market. You have more traders. If you have more traders, you tend to get a better deal. So it could be negative. I'm not saying it may not be negative, but it doesn't necessarily correlate that just because Russians have more influence, it's going to be negative.
No outside party will ever benefit Africa.
Forefathers.
China benefited from Russia and Soviet Union. How do you explain that?
Let me reply to what you said. I speak to you, said that's not true. That's not true. What you said is not true. Ethiopia is not colonized because of the Soviet Union.
One at a time, please. You know, we are going to be finishing in about 25 minutes, so let's try it. We are going to let Oga Ike speak. Oh, this one we are just ignoring him.
I mentioned, because sometimes I don't understand how people argue. I mentioned Africa, and you brought up Russia and China, as if we are in the same position economically, historically, or militarily, which are the things that dictate the way the world is run today if you have any kind of leverage. So again, I'm going to say no outside body, no imperial body that comes outside of Africa will ever benefit Africa except to come exploit and pillage it. Maybe not in the way that they did in the 1400s and 1500s when the Europeans came to Africa, but they will pillage Africa like we've seen in the Congo. We're seeing how they are doing in even in Nigeria. They almost took over airports in Zambia.
Let me ask you though, does that not depend on let me ask him now. Does that not depend on us, the way we interact with them?
There's no evidence.
Jide,
Where's
can
the
you
evidence?
please let him ask this?
Let me ask the question. Let me ask the question that if they really, like you said, they are definitely, that's their outlook. If they have the opportunity, they would exploit us. And they are doing it right now. Let's face it.
Which is what they're doing.
They are doing it right now. However, is that not depending on us? If we decide that, okay, we are going to make it so that we get something out of it all, then they will have to recalibrate. If they truly want influence in Africa, the price will increase. You see what I mean?
Right.
So it doesn't necessarily follow that if they show up, then everything just goes bad for us.
But that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying based on what y'all was saying. Jide, please, how much parrot eggs do you eat before you come on the show? Hold on.
Jide is energizer. It's charged up. We should be having a segment where you can probably talk more. Don't worry, you get probably segments where you talk more about these things, because I actually like the fact that he is going into geopolitics more than most people do. So I would like to listen to that.
All I'm just saying is very simple. No outside body, and we've heard all these say this time after time after time. Africa has to start looking inwards. Nobody, they don't have our interest at heart. So nobody's coming to save us, because that's what you guys are basically saying. Nobody's coming to save us, and we don't have the leverage. We don't have the power. We don't have anything to bring to the table except raw resources. A diamond, a raw diamond in the hands of a caveman ain't nothing but a rock. If you don't know how to refine it, that's all it is. There's no value to it. And this is what Africa does not have. So let me just end it there. Like China, Russia, the United States, Europe, wherever, aliens from Mars, if they come to Africa, they just come to exploit. And that's just the fact of it.
Before you respond,
I agree with you. I agree with you. But what I'm emphasizing on is, I'm talking about the geopolitical balance. If because Russia and China already have an influence. So imagine if Europe and America, Western Europe and America, they are weak. They are fighting each other. Maybe there's crisis in the US and Western Europe. They have to focus on the internal crisis. And Russia and China is getting stronger. They will have more influence. I'm not saying we'll benefit. There are two different things. You understand? Of course, I've always been a proponent of our sovereignty away from all these foreign powers.
Yeah,
no
that's
doubt
for
about
sure.
that.
So that means you didn't answer the question I asked you. The question I asked you is that what is the benefit? The way, first of all, we keep on making hypotheses of maybe the West will fight each other, maybe this one will fight each other, and this place will break down, and this one will break down. My question is this: while you are making that hypothesis, what is the outcome for Africa?
The outcome is that it will give us an opportunity for us to have our sovereignty. If we have the will,
Jide, he doesn't give us, he gives us zero opportunity. Do you know why? Because you're not even making hypotheses for Africa. You have not spent time to make hypotheses.
That was why I said if they will, it's a political will.
But
I think Dexter, Jide is making a point that it depends on us in the end. We can
Jide's hypothesis is based on the West fighting each other.
That's hypothesis. You asked me. Oh my God.
No.
You asked me. No, you asked me. And I answered you. I didn't say that. I didn't say they fight each other.
Wait, Jide,
I didn't say that. You asked me.
Okay, let him finish. Right. Let him finish. Jide, let Dexter speak now.
Jide, the question I asked you is based on your contribution. Your contribution is based on maybe the West fight each other. That is all we have been debating. And that is my question. If we are spending time making hypotheses on the man outside, he's fighting each other. These people will fight China, Russia, America will fight US, or this one will fight. We are not making hypotheses on how Africa will come to the table. Like I speak the truth was saying. We are not making hypotheses on how Africa will be able to refine, instead of selling raw products, we'll be able to refine products and sell finished products. There's no hope. If
We
you
have
can't
a
make
big
it high,
problem
put.
on our hand, though.
If you cannot make high,
Let
put
me
I
just
agree
highlight
SSC
with
this.
you,
Let's see what we
I
can do.
agree,
We
but I
have a
never
big
said
problem on
Europe
our
and
hand.
America
Let's
should fight each other or
hold
fight
on,
each
please. Don't reply to that. We have a big problem on our hand. How do we deal with these actors that this general is referring to on the continent? Because they stand a chance of reversing the gains that have been made, like kicking the French out in many countries, having native local languages becoming official languages, and taking control of natural resources. But America seems to be stepping up their operations on the continent, which might make the French happy, and then they are also empowering their partners, or they like to call them. So let me just play this and notice the emphasis on making sure it's a black man's face is in front of us.
AFRICOM's campaign revolves around central themes of ensuring strategic access, countering threats to the homeland and U.S. interests, preparing for and responding to crisis, and lastly, bolstering our allies and partners. This campaign places our African partners at the center, achieving.
Notice that emphasis, center. You have to put a black man's face at the center. And he will repeat it again.
Positive change by executing African-led and U.S.-enabled operations.
That's it again.
Focused on our shared objectives. In Africa, modest investments and resources go a long way towards achieving our national security interests. Africa faces many challenges, but also offers even more opportunities. With our African partners at the forefront.
Again, that emphasis. And he also said something about very modest resources go a long way in Africa. They don't need to bribe us enough. When they just bribe us a little bit, we will sell everything. That's basically what he's saying there. Man, it's really sad. This thing, they wrote it in their documents. What he's saying here is already written in their documents years ago on their Africom website. So what he's saying physically now is part of the document. Maybe he's even reading it for all we know, because if you look at it, he's reading something. And I remember presenting this document on this show here. Maybe that's the document he's actually reading.
Yeah, no, so you're not wrong, forefathers. I'm very happy you.
Towards achieving lasting stability, security, and prosperity on this crucial continent.
So that
Look,
is.
can I just make a quick comment on that? On this video. So this guy has, for the first time, united all Africans. This guy, and we gotta thank God for the internet. That's why we have a little voice. None of us are going to be put up on CNN or Fox News or even our own local stations, because they're all propaganda stations. But for us, we now have a voice. People have been doing protest for the first time. When what's his name, the other guy in Burkina Faso was murdered by the West, Sankara, nobody could do anything. We all mourned secretly. I remember I was a kid. We all mourned Sankara. I didn't even know too much about him, but I knew they killed a good man. But now you have 20-year-olds on the streets protesting in all over the whole world, saying, don't touch this guy. You think people are not listening? You think people are not listening to what we are saying? It's good. We did some mental exercise. I think it was Jide. Someone was asking Jide, why are we doing all this? Yes, we're all doing this because Africa has to come together. When we talked about, when I talk about Pan-Africanism, and people will get upset and say, look, yes, we have to get our shit together. I spoke with a friend today, and he was telling me about West Africa, how West Africa is doing. I said, no. West Africa is Nigeria. Nigeria has half the population of West Africa. Most people in Africa live in West Africa. So Nigeria is a very strategic country. So look, people are hearing what we are saying, and we should continue to speak up against folks like that guy. I'm not going to call him more names. He already called himself out. Essentially, they want to kill this guy. They want to buy this guy. Langley. Yeah, I don't want to, but we are saying, don't touch this guy. And if you look at how small Burkina Faso is, and that one small guy is rising up to say enough is enough. And and somebody was, look, he can't do what he's doing without the power of Russia. It's not like Russia they're the good guys, right? All these guys running around in the Sahel. The only reason they are doing it is because they have a nuclear powered country, backing them.
Backing them.
A nuclear powered country. Look, remember, Russia is their brother too. It's not like they're just not good friends right now. So they can play around in Africa. And so, look, we don't know if this Russia miracle will touch our country soon. I'm not saying anything.
I think international.
But one day, this Russia miracle may touch our country.
Let's add something before.
Maybe we'll start celebrating like our Burkina Faso brothers.
Let's add something before Ike speaks. No, Jide, hold on. Let Jide hold on. I think we keep going back to the same point. Let's not go back to it again. Geopolitics is a very, very straightforward thing, just like relationship you have with individuals. Sometimes it goes sour. If you look at the relationship with Soviet Union and China, it went sour after Russia gave China the technology for nuclear weapons and ballistic missiles. Then Soviet Union wanted to go and make nice with America. China was like, "Up yours! I'm not doing that. I'm going to carry on with my own thing. Go and make your hippie party with America." That's how it works. If Traore feels like Russia is not doing the right thing, he goes his own way. It's not by force. You just go your own way, but you have to draw a line and say, if you want to be my friend, this is what you have to do. And if they don't do it, you back off. Because those people, if you don't back off, you are just going to lose. You're going to have
Prophet, I don't believe someone like you can be saying this kind of a tale. How can Burkina Faso, a local government in Nigeria, tell Russia, go away?
They're not a local government now.
Are you kidding me? Yes, you can.
They're not a local government now. They're not a local government.
Yes, you can. You can damn the
Burkina Faso is not a local government. Come on now.
You are not losing. You are not losing.
I'm not saying it in a bad way. I'm just trying to capture it in a way we can understand it.
Think about it logically. By leaving them there, if they are not doing what you want them to do, you might as well have the old enemy back. What is the problem? What is the difference? If they are not going to do what you want them to do, get out.
But you have to get somebody, if you're in class where there are big boys, you can't go and slap one big boy without standing beside. And Africa, look, you need to stand behind a big boy. It's just alliances. Is it not what you've been calling it?
I agree with that.
I'm just saying that it has to be for a purpose, not for
But they're doing it for a purpose. They are pulling people out of poverty. They are removing French names. They are trying to form like some type of central bank. And we said this in about the eco. Look, if the moment, though, I don't think the West will give up Nigeria.
We don't have a lot of time left, and we have new people that have joined, so that they can be able to have their say before we round up.
Let me just say something. Just 10 seconds. 10 seconds. 10 seconds.
10 seconds. It is
10 seconds. So what I was Odi was going to say was, how much is Burkina Faso even making that it threatens America so much that they want to go attack them and replace the government? They don't even make $100 billion a year.
Because of the symbolism, it matters a lot. Because if they get away with it, then the other African countries will start thinking maybe we too can do the same thing,
right.
And that is what they don't want to see. Ike, I know this is you've listened to all the conversations. So what do you make of it so far? You can come from any direction, really.
I really wasn't listening to what you people are saying, because you people spend about 3-4 hours talking about other countries, talking about America, talking about Russia, talking about Europe. While in your own country, you don't have anything. You think we don't have a lot of things to talk about. We are talking about people who are more than 1 million miles away ahead of you. You are talking about
this is more controversial to us than...
You just gave me...
Yeah, but you are saying we are talking about those things. I'm just trying to correct you. The reason why we do these things is because it's more important, actually, than what is going on the ground.
For your own personal opinion, I don't care what you think about what it is. It is important to you. What is important to you is not what is important to me. So you shouldn't force your importance on me.
I'm just giving you a reason why we are talking about it.
You left your Nigeria, where even as we are speaking now, some people who are speaking the way you are speaking, they are being rounded up in Nigeria by EFCC and police. We are not talking about that. All we are talking about is America Britain, Russia, Germany, Canada. This is where we are talking about, where you have uncountable problems in Nigeria. I'm not saying that you don't discuss the geopolitical story, but it shouldn't be 5 hours talking about people who don't even know that you exist. They don't know that you exist.
Dexter, stop
they know you
encouraging
exist
it.
when they come to take what you have. I agree with them. They take what you want and they give you what you want. So what is the big deal about all these stories? Does Trump know that Nigeria exists? He doesn't care. What happens to you? He doesn't care. Does he care about you? No. He cares about what he's going to get.
Bam.
And if you get that thing, you can go to hell. We have a country that is not working. We have a system that is not working.
But it's not working because of, as a result of the conversations we are having.
Telling me
It does. It's indirectly, but it plays a role.
Jide, please don't gaslight. Please don't gaslight.
Bibire, thank you for joining us. You know, you know, he's a representative of a minority group on this panel. Thank you for joining us, and she's free to speak anytime she wants to speak. And there's Jonaba there, so we have to acknowledge him too. When after she speaks, then Jonaba can go. I hear you, Ike. I hear that, you know, we should talk about Nigeria, but I think they done it in the earlier session. This is about 2.5 hours, and I'm doing shorter periods now because I'm being squeezed in between the ladies and Dr. Damages. People are eating into my time. It's supposed to be 3 hours, but it's all right. You know, I'm very generous like that. It's all right. Welcome, this is Bibire. What do you make of the conversation so far?
Okay, hi, Father. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. So I'm going to digress a little bit from what you guys are discussing, and if you don't mind. So I'll say that I know, like every week, people come on here and bash Tinubu and the leadership of Nigeria, what they're doing and everything they've been doing and what is not working in Nigeria. And I have this general opinion that I came up with, that Nigerians are the result of their leaders. They are what is wrong with Nigeria. Because you look at it this way, the cognitive dissonance of Nigerians is diabolical. In the situation, can you hear me? Because I'm kind of having my network trouble.
And I hear loud and clear.
In a situation, you listen to them speak and condemn this and condemn that because it directly affects them. People do not care, especially Nigerians. They do not care about what don't directly affect them, which is a problem. We have people problem. Until we begin to change, to have a mindset shift, then we can get somewhere. You wonder why Nigeria is going on a slippery slope. This is because of people that are each and every one of us that are here on this panel or in the audience. Because of who we are, our mindset, our thinking. Our thinking is mind-boggling. People talk about earlier on. I listened to the previous section when they said the previous session when they talked about like somebody being held or by the government and not giving fair justice and all of that. But I also listened in a couple of weeks ago when somebody had mentioned about the situation here in America, like someone was an immigrant was sent to a gulag in El Salvador and was not given a due process. And somebody mentioned that, oh yeah, it should stay there regardless of what it is, because it came to another man's country. And another person jumped in to correct the person and said, oh, as long as you're on American soil, you're entitled to due process. And the person gave a very dismissive statement. So that speaks to your person and your value. That means you don't value injustice. You don't value justice. You actually stand for injustice, except when when the oppression is done to you or to the people that are around you. So that's why I don't take Nigerians seriously. And we'll continue to The country will continue to deteriorate if we don't have a mindset shift and think differently. Our thinking is really very bad. We are wrong and loud, and it's not just going anywhere. In a case where Supreme Court has given a ruling of 9-0 in favor of the person, but you don't care, you dismiss that. But in the same sentence, you want justice to be given to somebody else. It's not fair. They don't. The government is corrupt, but we have the result of it because everyone on this panel, I will not say everyone. Let me say a lot of people on this panel, when they're given opportunity to take leadership position, they will do the same thing that these leaders are doing. People love ruthless, disrespectful leaders like Wike. They like that. It's because Wike is affecting them. If they're in position of Wike, they will do the same thing. Because from what I hear, because the recent events have made me realize that Nigerians are actually cruel. Cruelty is the point. If you come from a Christian standpoint and you are in support of people that said Christians should be nationalized, the country is a national. But in Nigeria, you don't want Islamization of Nigeria. You're against that. You oppose that because Islam is not your religion, but Christianity is your religion, so it's okay for everyone to take on Christianity. So where is it? Why can't our value just be your core value be your core value? What you stand for, be what you stand for. Not like you're dilly dally here and there, you're just all over the place. So that is why I know that Nigeria, I don't think Nigeria will ever make progress.
So, but what do you think though, in terms of having people become, because basically your argument is about objectivity and being able to remain, try to isolate your own personal biases from analyzing maybe national issues or societal issues. It's like doctors in medical profession. If you are about to operate on a family member, they will excuse you from that. You have to recuse yourself from it. You see what I mean? Because they understand that because it's a family person, your opinion, your judgment may be impaired. So we as human beings, we are not trained to grow up doing those things, checking our opinions based on our biases. Could that be the reasons why people behave the way they are doing? And if that is the case, should we change it? And how do you think we can? I know I'm loading a lot of questions on top of another question. How do we change it? Because that's what you're accusing Nigerians of doing. But how do we change it? That's the important part.
Okay, this is what I'm saying. Because we don't have any value in the force, so we don't have any core belief, core value. We don't have it. It's not in us. That is the problem. We don't have what you can't give what you don't have. So that's why we flip flop. When it's election time, politicians know how to play the game. They put bigotry and all of that information out there, and people are rambling and fighting for all of that, and they leave the core things that they're supposed to focus on and keep fighting for.
So what would you teach as a core value? What would you recommend
So
that each Nigerian should learn as their core value?
This is what I said. You have to know what you stand for. Stand for something. This is you. This is what I believe in. I believe that no one should be oppressed. And I do not stand for oppression in any way, regardless of who is being done to. Why can't that be a basic? It's just a basic thing. That's why you see Nigerians don't believe
But
in
the funny thing is that some
volunteering.
people will believe, do you know, some people will believe that same thing that you just said, nobody should be oppressed, but they cannot recognize it in other people. That is a serious
Because they don't actually
handicap.
believe it. Because they
But
don't
they do
actually
though.
believe
They
it.
do
No,
believe.
no, they don't. They don't. They
I've
don't.
seen it,
People
they believe it, but they don't
I've
see it in other people.
heard it on here, from people. The same people that said that bash Tinubu all the time and condemn him for corruption and disregard of the rule of law and say this and is appointing his cronies, his friends, just Yoruba people. But in the similar situation, I want to hear your view. In the similar situation, that's when I know you stand for this. I'm having white network issues, so
No,
pardon
you
me.
are clear. You are clear on this side.
Yeah.
You're very
So I'm
clear.
saying that if you stand for something, then it will just flow. It will just be across board. Injustice, you see injustice, you will know it. Everyone knows when something is not being fair. But you sit here, you complain and say that, oh, the Tinubu as the Nigerian government is just filled with Yoruba people and this and this. And in similar situation, you're okay with it.
See, I am struggling to
No, no,
agree
no,
with
no,
you because
hold on,
I've
hold
seen
on,
Kene
hold on,
come
hold
here.
on. No, I'm not talking about anybody. No. I'm
No,
just giving.
I'm the one talking about Kenny because I see Kenny here. He's a very, very interesting fella.
I'm not.
So,
I'm not. First of all, let me just finish. I'm not
so
really interested in.
I know. Okay, let's not go into individuals. The point I'm trying to
I'm
make
not.
is that I really do see some people believe what they are saying. I don't know, except you are saying those people are actually lying, but I just get the feeling that they really believe what they are saying. That
I
they,
said, did you listen to me when I said in Nigeria, Nigerians do not want Islamization of Nigeria. People oppose it. They don't want it. They said, oh, do your practice your religion, let it stay in the north, let it be this, let it be that. People should not bring. But in America, they are asking for Christian nationals. What happens to other religion, other faith? Why do you have to condemn people that do not believe in the same thing as you, that do not look like you or speak like you, or they do not even share the same sexual orientation as you? How is that a problem? Because it's the
um
same thing. So when you stop others, so
go
I
ahead,
get
go
it
ahead, go
very,
ahead.
very
I just
well,
wanted
but
to
it's
make it to and fro.
I'm
So
just, like I said, I'm just trying to, it's just my own, discovery in the last, couple of months that I've listened to a lot of Nigerians on issues that, that concern Nigeria and concern, the world at large. And I just feel like there's a shift, there's imbalance. That's why I don't see them, I don't take them seriously when it comes to Nigerian issue. So that's why I say Nigeria is not going anywhere. It's going on the slippery slope and it's not never gonna work because of the thinking until people start, having a mindset change. They start shifting their mindset and standing for something and believing something. So because you don't want your religion in somewhere because they're not. This religion is not yours. Is bad. But when it comes to your religion, you support that. You want that. Why don't you know? Why don't be your core value be
Basically,
let
Nigerians are
everyone
hypocrites. Like,
yeah, but it's a
hypocrisy.
fair. But don't you think that some people feel like if something is threatening their lifestyle, especially when it results in frictions where lives are lost, you can understand why they feel a little bit uncomfortable if that lifestyle is because they have to learn new
Sorry, what
language,
is
they have to
wrong with
learn
the
new
lifestyle
ways.
of Islamization in Nigeria? How is that? How is that?
Because some religions and some there are aspects of intolerance that comes along with it that you have to be
Okay,
careful
what
about.
about the Christian nationalism that is happening here? And people are advocating because what this administration is advocating for is Christian nationalism, and they call themselves Christian Taliban.
You see, that's
And you
that's
are
the thing.
What
Both
lying.
do
of them are
but
wrong.
And
Both
you
what
of
do
them are wrong.
and
but,
you are lying. And you are lying with someone that say people that say they call themselves Christian and they say empathy is a sin. And you align with people that cruelty is the point. They don't believe in the gospel that Jesus talked about. And you call yourself a Christian, but because it's Christianity, you're okay with everything.
Yeah, because it's your
But
side. It's the nature of life, isn't it? The nature takes its own
that
side.
is one thing. When people don't stand for anything, and I'm speaking to Nigerians, and when people don't stand for anything, they fall for anything. When they don't stand for anything, they fall for everything. So I don't believe Nigeria is going to go. People can come on here and talk about it from here till next year until you have a change. Don't come until people drive change. So when people don't drive change, and change begins with your mindset. So when people don't
Yeah.
change, then they will keep going. You can keep talking all day long.
I
So
would
yeah,
take. I would recommend a class of objective reasoning and objective reasoning for every Nigerian. I think, in short, it might actually be a very positive change in our society because there are things we've never really delved into, like knowing how to perceive reality, knowing how to analyze other groups, and navigating our way in this world.
Forefathers,
And we don't teach
would
our
you
people.
take
We
that
just say
class?
what Western people teach us.
Could I
forefathers,
come in, please? Let me
forefathers.
have a minute,
Well,
please.
Something a
Fafad,
little bit
you
philosophical.
don't.
Let me allow John Abba to speak. John Abba hasn't said anything. Oga Ike barely said much because we're not talking about Nigeria, so he's not very happy. We should be going back to Fubara soon, so that we don't have a lot of time. We have 1 hour. I thought we even had less, but we have up to 1 hour left, so that's a good thing. Let's bring John Abba on. Because that video we played, Bibiri, I'm surprised you didn't say too much about that video I played regarding the 4-star general, emphasizing how our leaders and basically our leaders, they are using them to basically get their way with Africa. Because he repeated that a few times.
I specifically did want to go into specific issues because I just
Are you
feel
worried
like
that I'm going to throw you out of the US? You know all these immigration issues.
not even that. I just feel like there's no point. People, it's just mindset. This is just a problem. There's no point going into specific issues. There's a fundamental problem. Fundamental. It's just not there. It's not there. You can just go on and speak and talk and talk. It's just the same.
Thank you, thank you. Jonaba, what do you make of this now?
Look at Kevin's face, yo.
What
Thank
do you
you.
make of this?
Thank you,
This,
forefathers and
yeah, thank you for
fellow
joining us.
panelists. Go ahead and say what you're saying. Go ahead.
Yeah, the question was about how they empower our leaders. This is another thing I hate that term empower, but they really equip these our leaders to be able to do what they need to do. And every Nigerian is not equipped to deal with that because the capacity that these people have is out of this world. From high technological way of surveillance to highly trained specialists in these areas to suppress anybody that tries to get in the way of these leaders. So it is shown historically that it has worked. It has worked so remarkably that almost all black countries in Africa are not doing very well today.
Sorry to interrupt you. I apologize. I was just going to mention that there's this big news. It's a very big news. That happened at the end of the week. It's about Nigeria. Actually, it's not international.
The question was directed to Jonaba.
Is that no? I won't take up to a minute. I want to say that there's a news that there was a British guy that was caught supplying weapons to some bandits in Nigeria. That's not spoken about. That should be.
They will hide it now. You see what's happening in Gaza. They're barely covering it on the news. This is not new. They are very, very good. When the West wants to be mean, you will be shocked.
No, this happened in Nigeria.
No, I agree with you. I agree. I'm not talking about that one. I'm just saying that they can cover news. So I'm not surprised that they're hiding that one. But the point I was making to Jonaba was about these are our leaders they empower, which is part of the kit that they give them, the tools that they give them, the ability to suppress their enemies, the ability to get rid of people that don't believe in their ideology, so that they can make the way for Western ideas and Western interests to be expressed on the continent. How do we actually deal with this thing? Because these people are really powerful. Let's say, this is an assumption, it's not a confirmed fact. Tinubu is one of them. How do you deal with such a person? Because you are dealing with 4-star generals in America. You are dealing with a country that spends almost $1 trillion on their defense budget. How do you deal with these such people?
Thank you, forefathers, for having me and fellow panelists. They have done this over the years and get away with it. And it's all about protecting them because they don't have vision for their country, or they don't have vision for their race. They don't have a clear vision for what life is all about. And it's a sad thing that we, especially, I always say that if you want to see what's wrong with Nigeria, come to Dr. Rudolph show. You will see many of us, some that are taking early medications and some that will take in the long run. And we come here to say that and this. While the biggest problem is that we are watching and things keep happening. I'm sorry to say this, but just want to digress a little bit. The other day you took me down because our brother Tony here he said that he never see himself to become a friend to Fulani. He have the right not to be a friend to Fulani, but he said that. But he said he didn't say it. That is me that trying to put word in his word. And that hurt me because it takes so much for me to come here. And what it means is that I hold him of a high regard, not that I agree with everything he says, but he's a man that he carefully stay on the fine line. But because he feel that that is what serves his own ego, what he want to say is to put me down, that I don't matter. He don't define me. I have self-esteem. So when we have people have ourselves to say, okay, and even I was trying to give him an opportunity to rephrase it because he in his statement said, oh, I have Fulanis that I do business with. Then I was telling him that All Fulanis are not the same. And the cause we are fighting for is the cause that they also are fighting for. Just like this young lady said, if you don't want Nigeria to be civilized and you are talking about Christianity, what difference does it make? It's just they are on the other side. The other one is on the other side. So, and he says, oh no, he didn't say that. And you took me down because I was peace. Because when you see us as a people, we are our own problem. Our security is in our hand and our life is in our hand. The last time people come here, so you don't talk about Benue, you don't defend Benue people, you don't say that. That's not the issue. Look at the governor of Benue State. He's a priest. It's no different from any other governor in Nigeria, even though he's a priest. Neither is a worse among them, but not protecting his people. Did I tell that they don't pay them their security vote? You know how much he gave to the police commissioner? 5 million naira with all that is going on in Benue State. Not that the
What?
federal government, yeah,
5 million naira?
yes,
Is
not
that for
500
is that
million.
for salary or for
No, just what he gave. You know, salary is different. I'm just telling
to
for all
actually
the
help secure the state?
yes, yes. So and when you see that and people just talk things, it hurt me that you are instead of us to uh, sorry. Instead of us to look at things from the truth side, and then we
Are you
take a
sure
side
that
that
is true? 5
yes,
million naira. That is
yes. And even the election of local government, he do not conduct any election. He just like the past governors. They just drafted the name, all party system, and passed across the local government. That's all. The local
Is it
government chairman.
Father earlier that is doing all this one?
Yeah. So this is, and he's going to go back to give his pure water as a holy water that he used to give by the roadside. End of the day, anyway. So
wow.
these are the things that hurt me. That okay, you see, since you came to power, you see people have been displaced from their natural home. He did nothing. He came to Otukpo that day. They killed about 25 people in Otukpo. Him and the Oche or Ochidoma. They do not talk about them. They just wear uniform that he carried his picture on, and he just went. And Akume is working overtime in Capital. I hope Akume remove him in the next one because they are all APC, but they're not getting along. So these are the things that when I see Nigerians, we are so hypocrite. There's nothing that we say that we really mean it. Our word is our word. If we're going to say something, let's turn the mirror on ourselves. I don't agree with Kene most of the time, but Kene was talking about a priest that was having love offering with some of the church, will have a wife or somewhere else. And this is when somebody will come here and they will say they are this, they are that. I hope to see, I'm going to my laughing area as I round up. I hope to see him if I have time to come to Atlanta. He's a funny young man, but sometimes I don't believe in extremists. I hope you should stand on your word. Be a traditionalist. No God but gods. Be a traditionalist. Don't bend by the people that's you are not a Catholic, you are a Catholic. They are all the same. Whether you are Christian or you are a pagan or you are Islam. Good people are good people. Bad people are bad people. Religion is what you are born into. If you born into a Christian family, you have 100% of being a Christian, and you can be bad and you can be good. If you born into an Islamic family, the 100% chance of you being a Muslim is there. But what you want to see is a humanity. But what we come here, we want to tear ourselves down, thinking that the Western world give us have anything for us. They don't even like us in the first place. They want us to be wiped out. They want to even take that land called Africa and make it their headquarters. They don't care. It's the only way that they do things is that when it's in their favor, they now call the name. You are a terrorist when you challenge them. Whenever they challenge you, they're not a terrorist. So that is what power does. And I hope we love ourselves more and talk about our issue more and let us rise to the occasion. China, America, like it or not, I love America. I'm here. But power, nothing lasts forever. What goes around comes around. There was a war before America come to power, and they have held it for a long time. And when they have a ludicrous that what they have right now, if they have it the next time, something is going to happen that they're going to lose it. And I hope they don't lose it because I don't want them to. I think when it comes to some certain things, the American people are good people to a certain extent, but we all have good people and bad people somewhere. But the general Nigerians, like your president and any other people, they are sellout. They don't see. They are taking drug. They don't see very well. So don't mind them. They will go sell us for nothing. Because all they look at Shay. Look at Shay, what I watched earlier, what Shay did to that guy. And he's still taking high and go around in Nigeria. And the deplorable Nigerians will come and hail him. Shay is a son of a president instead of them to stone him. So, he do it to people he can do it to. Trust me, even if not bite, I will bite him to his bone. It can't happen. It can't happen to me. It can't happen. But thank
welcome.
you for having me. I just feel like to appear in my Fulani Jalabia that Nigerian belong to all of us. That you guys should
Yeah.
not be afraid.
I wanted to comment on that. That's quite a remarkable, nice, disinterest clothing you have on, gold all the way. But all this gold is what brought all this trouble here. Where you people are busy showing off our wealth. Maybe we should stop showing off wealth and start hiding up all these things because that's why they keep coming. It's too much, but that looks very good, I must say, and I'm glad.
Can I say something?
Tony, I wanted to praise you just now for ignoring him.
No, not trouble, not trouble. I'm not going to make trouble with Jonaba. I just wanted to apologize to him. I was rude to him. I shouldn't be. And Jonaba, I want to say I'm sorry. Please forgive me. But I checked the video again and I found out that yes, I did say that, and so but I'm not retracting it because I know why.
You don't have to. You don't have to. And you have the right to
Yes,
do that.
I know why. I know why. I know why I said it. But that's not saying I'm not demeaning a whole race. That's not saying that you don't have people in full base who are good. But I just said I know the reason why I say I can't be friends to them. But you don't have to be friends to
You have
people
the
you do
right to do
business.
that. You don't.
Yes.
You have the right. But my whole point is that you cannot tell me you didn't say that, and I'm trying to say that
No,
you
I'm
say that.
correcting that now.
No, thank you. No
I
problem.
corrected
And
that now. I
accept
did
your
say it, and then
apology,
I'm
even if you don't
apologizing
apologize. Yes,
from
even
the
if you
bottom
don't
of my heart.
apologize, I see like you are a guy that walk on the fine line. You believe in law and order, and I don't have a problem with you. I just want to make sure that we understand ourselves, and I have respect for you, especially on Sunday when you wear that tie. You look nice.
Look at that. Look at that. Look at that.
Thank you.
This is
I
what
appreciate you
integrity
for
is.
forgiving me. Thank you so much.
You see how civilized men act.
You see, this is what they call integrity. If somebody sees they've done something wrong and they got something wrong, they will highlight it. They will not
And
pretend
look
as
at
if
how they
they will
did
not
it in
look at
very
that.
few.
Look at that. Yeah, this is
Look at
not
how
what
they did
this
it in
God
very
does. I
few
speak the truth
words.
will double down. I
So,
speak the truth double down on this wrongdoing.
Look at two
let me
civilized
come in
men.
here. And I think this platform, when you are
Yeah, but
gentle,
the video we are responding to, seriously, I really need us to respond to that video so
yeah,
we don't go into another
I'm going to touch everything. I'll be everywhere right now. Jonaba, thank you, my big brother. You see, whenever you come to Georgia, please let me know. I will be very, very happy to, have you as a guest. And whenever I'm coming to Texas, of course, even though I don't have your number, I will ask Dr. Damages for your number because I would like to come and eat. What is your people's name? No, I'm used to Tuon Shinkafa, but his people, there's this delicacy from his people. I've forgotten that food. Yeah, but I will come and have some taste of it. But this is it. There's something you said. Good people are good people, while bad people are bad people. I like that. And but I don't know why somebody on the comment section said that forefather is married to a white woman that doesn't wear wig. I don't know why AY should be doing that, but not to him. But this is it. When Mr. Ike was trying to draw our attention back to what is happening in Nigeria, already I've started thinking because prior to Oga Ike, I was falling asleep because I even made a comment on the comment section that these people are just, their noise is just sounding like mosquito this thing. Because we're discussing about countries that don't even care if you exist or not. Countries that all they want is to make sure that they put you down perpetually, and you are here talking about them. I was even thinking, okay, should I just come and remind us that while other countries, African countries, are busy giving their support to Burkina Faso, your confused president is busy jumping around from France to wherever. He doesn't even know what is going on in Africa. Then come Oga Ike trying to take us back home, and my beautiful sister here came, and I thought she was, agreeing with Oga Ike that was trying to take us back. And before you know it, she made a U-turn again and start coming to US. I was like, what is going on here? But this is why I come, right? Burkina Faso is busy liberating itself from the shackles of white criminals, call them what they are. But unfortunately, it seems that each time they attack Africa, they use somebody that has our color. And I don't want to say that African Americans are against Africa, but because I've seen a lot of African Americans even joining, in the protests against the activities of Western countries in Africa, especially Burkina Faso. So, but why is it that when they wanted to take out what they call him, the recent one, which was the Libya Gaddafi, a black president was used, and now they are trying to go after Ibrahim, and they're trying to use another black guy. So I'm not just using these people from America. Our own black people, African people, are even aiding them to accomplish these nefarious moves. There's this country, this French-speaking African country that is close to Cameroon.
Ivory Coast.
Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast is one useless country that we need to start calling them out right now. We need to use all manner of platform to call them out. And then your president is a cunning man. Nobody knows where he stands. Of course, he must stand with France. He's I don't want to say slave master, but the people that put him in power. So he has to stand with them to make sure that Burkina Faso is pulled down. But his eyes will clear that even the Nigerians themselves are queuing up in the protests. But back home, let me go with Oga Ike, where we have EFCC going after whomever that speak against the evils of the government, and we have Tinubu and his irresponsible family going against whomever that want to challenge them in this forthcoming election. We are not talking about that. We're not even talking about a country where you seek self-help. You do what they call DUI, is it DIY or whatever? Do it yourself, right? Do it yourself. You build your house, you buy the electric pole yourself, you buy the cable yourself, you connect the electricity yourself, you dig the water, you provide yourself water, you provide yourself electricity, and then on the day of election, you still come out and queue up and vote. My question to you is, what are you voting for? You send your children to school, you pay school fees. What exactly are you benefiting from this useless set of criminals that call themselves leaders in Nigeria? Right now, you have a president that all is concerned right now is to make sure that Aso Rock is using solar panel. So if Aso Rock is using solar panel with 10 billion naira, what about the masses? So which means you all must provide yourself with solar panel. You must seek that DIY or DUI, I don't know what they call it. So you must do it yourself as well. You must provide yourself with electricity. You must do everything by yourself. Now, my question is, what is the usefulness of having leaders in Africa? So sometimes I don't blame the likes of our forefathers, the likes of Jide that want to discuss about Western countries, because in Western countries, I don't even know when the electricity was connected to my house. All I know is that I will pay.
So
I will pay the bill.
We don't need democracy in Africa.
I think
Yes,
he
I
made,
agree with you.
points
We
that I
don't
think
need, honestly, no. For a very long time, I've come to an agreement that we don't really need democracy in Africa. Honestly,
Western
because
style democracy.
let's use Nigeria as an example, right? Since the coming back of democracy, 1999, what have we achieved? Nothing.
Nothing.
Everything that was built by the military has been rendered useless, and they could not build any. All they are busy building is fake substandard roads. A governor will come to campaign for an election, and the only thing that he'll be promising you is that he's going to build roads. So roads, if when you build roads, road is going to provide jobs for your citizens, right? Road is going to fix the economy, right? Road is going to provide good hospitals, right? You see, I don't know where this crop of people, and I will disagree with whoever that say that our government is the reflection of the people. No, the people is the reflection of the government. No, it is the government that is the reflection of the people, right? So the people, you voted for these clowns to become your leaders. At the end of 4 years, nothing was achieved, and you still vote for them for another 4 years. You keep recycling these bingos, these godforsaken idiots to become your leaders, and nothing for how many years now? A child that was given birth in 1999.
Let me add something to that.
Right?
I've actually struggled with that too. But we also know the governments are not only reflections of the people, they also bring agendas that are reflections of outsiders. And that is the part that makes it very insidious, because the relationship we are supposed to be having, instead of the people to be able to cancel the government out, the outsiders empower the government, which is what this video was about. They empower the government to cancel out what the people want. And then the, people, the ideology is kind of
I agree with you. I agree with you, but I cannot be in my house and an outsider will come and tell me what to do in my house. So if the outsider if they influence your leaders, right? If they impose leaders on you, must you take that leadership? Must you accept the leader? Why can't you come out on the street and say, no, we are not accepting this criminal. We never voted for him.
Okay, so
must
you accept the criminal?
You don't have to, but you need specific things to be able to remove them. Like what you said, I like what you said about calling them out.
What do you need to remove Tinubu, for example?
What you need to remove Tinubu is bigger than we are like to think. You need some serious events that is going to allow people to their eyes to open and say, okay, this kind of leader, we can't accept them. Any leader that keeps running to the West all the time, you can't accept them. They are not there for you.
No.
Would you hold on, Ken? Let me ask you a question. So
election is coming.
Both of you, hold on, Ken. So with both of you, because we keep going back and forth, we know the problems. Everybody's saying the same thing. So would both of y'all agree? And I know a lot of Africans get pissed off when this comes from the mouth of a Western Caucasian. But I think it's something we have to start thinking about, and it's something we have to also, if true, should be looked at critically. So would both of you agree that maybe Africans, well, I'll say Nigerians, have very low IQ?
Yes, we do. Africa. See, let us not deceive
individual low IQ. We have collective lower IQ.
Yes, collective lower IQ. I agree with you on that. We have collective lower IQ, and that is why we are unable to know that these people that call themselves Westerners or whatever they call them, I don't want to use some word, that come in the guise of giving us aid, in the guise of helping us, that we could actually do without these people. How could you depend on your fellow human being to prosper?
Because if you look at Nigeria, for example, everybody.
I was on the comment section. I wrote something on the comment section. I think YouTube took it out.
They don't like you. I don't know why they often censor. Maybe because you're busy abusing people, insulting people's mothers and stuff like that. That's why they keep cutting it out.
For Africa, okay, this is what I wrote. This was what I wrote, right? that Africa need nuclear weapon in order to move forward. If you don't have it, just keep short. There is nothing you will be able to achieve in that continent. If you don't have nuclear weapon, just like the way what they call it, the North Korean leader has one, and they were
But
threatening
how has
him.
that helped his people? How has that helped
No,
Pakistan?
no,
How has
I'm
it
not.
helped
I'm not talking
India?
about how he's dealing with his people. No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm not. I don't want to go into that. But for Africans to actually repel these people, for Africans to actually kick these people out, they must have one.
That's for sure.
This is the only way
Fathers,
to
can
stop
I
them from
haven't
You
said
have no
anything?
choice.
I
You have
think
to
we
have
just
it or
need,
something, or something more effective as a nuclear weapon. Something that is
if
that
exactly.
powerful.
we
If you don't have
if
it, we are
For
we
gone.
example,
if we if we if we if we let me tell you something better than a nuclear weapon that Africa.
okay. Mhm.
First of all, we need education. Okay, so you have to make the people intellectually educated, whereby they know, for example, their rights, how to pick the right leaders, how to forget about mundane issues like tribalism, bigotry, and the such. Right? Then, if you educate them enough and you let them know their rights to a certain degree or to the highest degree you can, I think that would also help with economic empowerment, which is what we actually do need. So if you are educated, you know your rights also is part of education, and then you empower the people financially, economically. I don't think we need nuclear weapons, at least not now.
Bobore, will you say that
Fathers, can I say
no?
something?
Will you say that Wike and Tinubu are not educated?
No, they're not. They're not educated. A
So what
lot
kind
of
of education are you talking
Nigerians,
about now?
You see, that's the thing.
a lot
Nigeria
of
has one of the highest concentration of professors in Africa, and yet look at where we
a lot
are.
of
Exactly.
Nigerians, like he's doing now.
No,
With all due respect,
nobody.
a lot of Nigerians will read a book. They can cram the book. A lot of them have lived in the West, but to implement what they have learned, for some reason, they can't. This is why I asked the IQ issue. So when you act like a caveman, even though you have been introduced to civilized theories or civilized way of life, that can only lead me to say there is something fundamentally or inherently wrong with your way of thinking. So
No,
Nigerians
that
will
is not
read.
correct. It's not correct.
Nigerians will
Oh my
read.
God! I think we've had this
Nigerians
conversation
can.
several times.
Nigeria, you're doing it because now you have a
I will
Ruffian instead
agree
of
with.
letting me
I
finish.
would. I will agree with Bumbure on this, and this is my
No, no,
reason for
sorry,
saying that.
sorry. Let
In
me just
fact,
add to this.
in
No, no,
fact,
this. No,
professors.
sorry. This point we've already addressed it a long time ago. I've diagnosed this problem to the fact in terms of the way they operate with us. That's the reason why we are not where we are. To behave in an intelligent way collectively, often you need stimuli. You need things to happen for people to act. Like I give an example now again. Let me
something
finish my
happened
point, please.
ending of
This
last
is
week.
quite this is one of the points I've been making for a very long
Yeah,
time.
but
And
father,
sooner or later
something
we're going to
happened
catch on.
last week.
Hold on, let
An
me finish what I'm
event.
saying. Let me finish what I'm saying. The point is that if you are in a room now and you're all arguing amongst yourself, but you discover that okay, you're all arguing amongst yourself, even if you disagree with each other and all those things. But now you find out that there are people that are coming from outside that are about to kill you all, that are having this argument. Chances are that you all are going to start cooperating to survive those people. So that is what I mean by collective intelligence. There are things that happen to a population that their intelligence will increase. They will cooperate with each other to be able to survive that experience. This is why even in the art of war, one of the recommendations that Sun Tzu recommended to his generals is that he should put his fighters in a position whereby they don't have a choice other than to fight. If they feel that they are going to die, other than to fight, they will have to. They don't have a choice. And we as a people, we don't have that
Does
problem because these
does
Europeans,
South Korea
I wanted to say
does
something.
South Korea
I
have
understand what you're
does
saying,
South Korea
but
have a
what kind of
nuclear?
event exactly? Because we had one major event ending of this week where a British guy actually supplied weapons.
yeah, but see, my point
That's
is,
a major event. What else do we need?
it's not major. How can you?
What
You call
else
that
do we need?
major? See, hold on. That is not even major at all. See,
That's to make all of us wake up.
That's
oh
not
my God!
major at
See,
all.
you don't understand. See, this is why I highlighted this statement that this man made, and he literally is telling you why they don't do that with other regions. They can attack Middle East. They can attack somewhere in Asia. They can go even South America. But in Africa, they don't come physically themselves. He repeated it a few times so that you get it. Let me play it again. Here when he said African-led repeatedly. He kept repeating that point. It has to be Africans in the middle.
Using
Otherwise, it
Africans
will fail.
against Africa.
But
Exactly.
Who else
They
is he
do that so that they
supposed?
don't open our eyes. That is where.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me. Oh my God! Stop interrupting, please. This is a very, very important point. This is a very so that we don't keep blaming our own people for having low IQ and all the rest.
Forefathers, can I say something?
Keep thinking like that. Sorry, it's not going to take 25 seconds. But what I'm going to say, we keep blaming our people that our people have low IQ, but there is something that they call collective intelligence. That aspect is that is why he uses. IQ, that's why they use that tactics. They want to ensure our collective intelligence is low. They don't want us to see, because when we see, our intelligence will increase. We are going to realize that they are the problem, and we're going to fight back. What our people are doing now against? Can you just stop interrupting?
It's a question. What aren't you seeing?
What we are not seeing the West as the enemy, as a population. We don't see the West as a direct enemy. If we saw them as a direct enemy, our collective intelligence will rise, and we are going to act against them. Look at what is happening. Let me give you an example with Traore now. Look at the revelation that is coming out because of Traore, and look at how the world is already responding. And this is not even close to a catalytic event. If we reach a catalytic event level, you don't even need to convince your fellow African. They will know what needs to be done. If you look at other countries that have come out of this problem, they had far more serious events.
How is a nuclear weapon going to help you with
I
that?
agree with you, Forefathers.
Forefathers, can I say something?
Coming to meddle with you, you can tell them, you can let them go. Find their way, and they will find their way. They're not going to come back and start threatening you with their nuclear blackmail.
In as much as we are advocating for weapons, right? In as much as we are advocating for weapons, if we don't do away with tribal and religious bigots or bigotry in that country, you will be surprised that at the end of the day, it is that same weapon will be used by your fellow African against
eliminate each other with that weapon.
Exactly. So before you call for such weapon, you must do away with the tribal and religious bigotry in that country. And
let me ask you, there's tribalism in every country. This is the point. I keep making this point. There's tribalism in every country.
Hold on.
That is not the reason why we don't have nuclear weapons.
And that is where education, that is where the proper education comes in. Because if you watch Ibrahim Traore, right? Though he's a Muslim, but he's just a moderate human being. He does not have religion on his agenda, right?
It's not just bigotry. It's not just tribalism. It is extreme ignorance. Okay, exactly. So in the sphere that you say, well, in a certain region or every part of the world, there is tribalism. True, humans are built like that. The societal structure of animals is built like that. We understand that. But in Nigeria's situation, I'd say Nigeria, because Nigeria is an exceptional circumstance. It is extreme ignorance, where someone can say, I hate this person just because of where they're from or the creed that they practice. How is a nuclear weapon going to help you versus proper education?
It's clear that nuclear weapon can help you with that, because you don't understand. See, the reason why nuclear weapon can help you, let me spell it out. I'm not going to deviate at all. Is because when you have those nuclear technology, those people that are influencing your system, so that those issues that you are raising in terms of tribal divisions and sabotage.
Will you trust nuclear weapons in the hands of
you can't manage it. You can't manage nuclear weapons. You don't have the technology to manage it. You don't have the discipline to manage nuclear technology.
So that is not
my contribution. I think what you are missing. I think what you are missing. Is the fact that if you go forefathers, if you continue to go to Europe and America, cap in hand, excuse me.
Buhari has
If
bomb.
you continue to go to Europe,
Buhari has bomb tanks and all the
oh
rest, guns
Lord.
that can kill all Nigerians. Do you see him killing even Nigerian? The idea that
Let
Buhari cannot
Kenny-
handle
let
nuclear
Tony-
weapons is crazy. I don't know what way Trump can control nuclear weapons. This is a guy that wants to nuke a hurricane. Jesus Christ, why do we think like this?
How much do you think it takes to maintain a nuclear weapon?
Nice. That's your complaint. Let's
Can I
just
say
stop that.
something?
Pakistan has got it.
Can I make my contribution?
Please go ahead.
Sir.
Forefathers, can I make my contribution? I'm saying that so long as we go cap in hand, begging Europe and America, nobody is going to respect you. That's the first thing. What a Traore is trying to do, and just like Trump is doing, is saying Burkina Faso first. And so if Trump accepts first, then why would they be faulting Burkina Faso for saying, listen, we want our country to be first? So the policy that Traore is pursuing, for instance, if you take gold, he says, okay, you guys have been, France was mining gold, a French company was taking gold in Burkina Faso. They will pay them 82 cents, and they will take, so they pay them 82 cents, yeah, and then they will take 200 euros for themselves. And the man says, no, this cannot continue anymore. And then what did he do? He now started mining, got his people to mine the gold, and then also to add value, so that you just don't export it as raw material, but you also add value. So it's a double gain. And so the guys who are losers now are not expected to be happy with him. Now the man is indigenizing, he indigenized the gold industry. He is doing things for creating employment, trying to redirect the focus and reorientate the people. Yes, and reorientate the perception of people that they can trust themselves. He didn't take loan from IMF. He decided to raise internal, bonds from within the people, domestic bond, to finance a lot of his projects. When Saudi Arabia said, let me give you money to build 200 mosques, he said, no, we don't need mosques. What we need is school.
That wasn't true.
So there is a...
Yes, that was true. That was true.
No, it wasn't.
Tony, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
African command, the military high command, having been displaced in Niger, would not see a radical like that, who is opposed to European and American interests to stay. That's why over 18 coups have been done to this guy. He is spot on. He loves his people. He has kept on telling them, listen, we have to build this country together. There are so many. They are using Damiba, who is in Ivory Coast, and one other who is in Togo, to raise insurrection, cause confusion in Burkina Faso, so that they will remove him. But this guy is more handsome.
What is AU doing about that?
He's more handsome than hands-on. You said?
It's handsome. What is AU doing about that?
You said what?
AU, African Union.
They are not members of. They are not members. Listen. They have fashioned the EAS. They don't care about AU. I mean AU. They're talking about EAS. A sub-regional union. That one of the things they are planning is to take a pipeline, a gas pipeline, which Nigeria is also trying to do, to run through Mali, Niger, to Algeria. And then that will be a game changer, because you are now taking natural gas to Europe. So when you do that, they begin to look for your currency to pay you. So they will give you respect, because now you have something to give. As it is today, you have nothing to give. So they can afford to threaten you. I mean, last year, one of the UN conferences.
Sorry. You keep saying that we are going to give something. See, if they can take it, why would they care about you giving it to them?
No, you have to be. Listen.
I think the original point was that when Kenny said that we need nuclear weapons, the idea that we don't need it, it's like we don't have a choice. This is beyond debate. If you don't do it,
we have a choice. We have a no. That's a colonial. That's a colonial mentality. You have a choice.
How?
You have a choice. You make a decision that does not favor your people. You have a choice.
I'm the British and the American superpower that has been enjoying all the free stuff from Africa. Tell me how you can make me believe that I should not continue exploiting you. Tell me how you can make me believe that. Let me ask him now.
It's a source of deterrence.
You say what?
Nuclear
you say what?
Source of deterrence. Nuclear weapons is a sort of deterrence.
Why
anti-imperialist
do you think? Why do you think America is doing business with Saudi Arabia? They don't have nuclear weapons.
Does Korea have nuclear weapons?
Why is America dealing with Saudi Arabia? They don't have nuclear weapons.
Let me see. Sorry.
Saudi Arabia does not have to use nuclear weapons.
Why?
Okay, Jide, hold on. Let me take this one. See, Saudi Arabia is what they call nuclear latent nation. They can build nuclear weapons, but they are choosing not to build it. That's the difference. We can't.
Why?
We are not even close.
Why?
Because they don't have any.
That they don't have. Listen, you can't even manage the fact.
Just let them fool them.
My point
that they do for you, China do for you. You can't even manage it.
When they are trying to make it,
Sat 1, Sat 2, Sat 3, you can't even manage it. And you are talking about nuclear weapons.
Can we stop saying, "Oh my God"? Okay. See, this idea that we cannot do anything. That's the reason why I feel very strongly about this. Because what we are doing as grown-ups, we are telling our children they are incapable of doing certain things.
Why doesn't
no, please. We are telling our children that they are incapable of doing certain things, that there's something inherent.
No, that's not the point. That's not the point I'm making. Because it is not homegrown. What I'm saying is that it's not homegrown.
Why doesn't Saudi Arabia have
yes,
one?
I'm saying that you have the capacity, but so long as you are depending on people from outside to help you, you gotta have a problem.
I speak the truth. Why did they need nuclear weapons?
Please. Forefathers, Nigeria needs nuclear weapons.
Yes.
But Saudi Arabia does not need nuclear weapons.
Yes.
Yes.
Why? You are asking why.
Saudi Arabia...
Hold on. You asked why.
And before you go on,
I'm not going to go on. I'll try to keep it
brief.
brief.
I said go on, meaning before you answer. That's what it means, before you answer. So, Tony made a statement that was not right, with Jide already started getting hyped up. Again, this goes back to the bigotry that we talk about in Nigeria. So, he made a statement.
You are one of them. You are the epitome.
I thought you were asking
you are the
No,
but I'm not trying to.
You are the example. You are the exemplary of that.
Okay, good. I'm one of the example. Let me continue. So
what I was
saying, okay, that's good. So what I was trying to say is that Tony made a statement that is not correct, which has been debunked already, that Saudi Arabia offered to build mosque for Burkina Faso, and they offered 200 more, but that has been debunked. It's not true. It's not true.
The question about Saudi Arabia needing...
You say it's not true?
No, it's absolutely not.
You say it's not true?
Yes, sir, it's not true.
I speak the truth. Did you say it's not true?
No.
Yes, sir.
No, that's not a lie. That's not a lie. That's the truth.
You can easily check it. We don't
see
have
the problem.
You can check it. It's not a lie.
Hold on now. Jesus Christ.
200 mosques.
I understand. Hold on. Everybody, hold on. Let's just slow down. I speak the truth. Hold on too. See, I've checked the information.
Do you need
can we just have sanity, please? Can we just have sanity? I don't like this chaos. No, it's not important.
Let him answer.
I speak the truth. Hold on. We have to get one thing straight. We have to get information. This scattered brain thinking is not helping.
But this is...
I checked the information about Saudi Arabia offering Traore 200 mosques. There's a report at the top that says Saudi Arabia didn't do that. But there are also many reports that says Traore rejected it. However, let me finish. However, there is no major news source
because it's not
that
true.
reported it. Let me conclude. Now, my conclusion is that because there is no major source that is saying that is reporting such a thing, it's likely not to be true.
It is not true.
You see that propaganda, right? You see that propaganda, Bumbure. You see that propaganda. Hold on now, a minute. You see that propaganda is what the Western world want to use to propagate false narrative against the guy, so that Africa will be divided, Christians against Muslims. There's the fake news, right? But somebody made a comment on the comment section, and that drew my attention. Do you think, is a question for everybody now, forefathers, I agree with you that Africa need a nuclear weapon, right, as a deterrent to all these Western invaders, right?
Definitely.
But do you think that we need constant electricity to power this nuclear power plants? Do you think we need that in Africa?
You don't need constant electricity, universal, to be able to power plant. You need just constant electricity to power the power plant.
For the power plant, while the people are in darkness, right?
Yeah, America didn't have 24/7 power supply when they built their
Can you manage it? Can you manage the fallout? Can you manage it? Do you know what it costs to maintain nuclear technology? Do you have the manpower? Do you have the resources?
Yes, we have more people than
even Pakistan. If you have the kind of thing you have in Chernobyl, are you going to be able to deal with it?
Yes.
How?
We've had worse.
We've had worse than Chernobyl? Are you serious?
Yes. What do you think is the disaster in Africa right now? How is it that, are you trying to tell me Chernobyl is restricted in a certain area? Africa has land mass that surpasses that whole region.
What disaster has happened in Africa?
No, what I mean by that is that Chernobyl, I made the point. Chernobyl is restricted in a certain area. It's a small area. It's not the entire Africa that is going to blow up if any accident.
Forefathers. They are actually that.
What are you talking about? You don't know what nuclear is?
What are you talking about?
You want nuclear weapons? Can you maintain?
You guys are slow. If you are saying our generation cannot handle nuclear power, restrict it to yourself. Don't bring it on my own generation or my children's future. If you say your own generation, stop interrupting me.
I'm with you, but we only need constant power supply.
Hold on. See, if you are trying to say, then stop interrupting me constantly. If you keep saying, because this is a very, very serious issue, if you keep saying Africans can't do anything, then don't even bother coming here, because you're just giving up our future. You are saying that we can manage it, we can't power it. Look at the kind of statement you're making. China was an agrarian society when they built their first nuclear weapon. They were an agrarian, they were just farmers.
You forefathers, you make me laugh, because
of course
even the small basic, you have not been able to put yourself together to do it. You're talking about nuclear technology.
Let me ask you,
what are you talking about?
If you want to build,
India has nuclear weapons, right?
Nuclear weapon in Nigeria
yes,
right now.
they do.
And they will manage it.
North Korea, they do.
Pakistan has it, North Korea has it, and somehow.
But Africa can't manage it.
You're thinking is what is killing our continent. You are thinking that we cannot manage it. What is the use of all those useless professors we have?
Pakistan has it, India has it.
You don't have the leadership that can manage it. You don't have. You don't have the leadership that can manage it. What are you talking about?
North Korean crazy leader can manage it, but we can.
Even small, big, you cannot. You can't do INEC technology. You can't deal with it. You are talking about this. What are you talking about?
The people that cannot manage it.
Ordinary beavers, they couldn't handle. Ordinary beavers to count number, they couldn't handle. Talk less of a nuclear situation.
Don't mind them.
Campaign revolves around central themes.
Beavers, ordinary beavers, you can't handle. You are talking about nuclear.
In U.S. interests, preparing for and responding to crisis, and lastly, bolstering our allies and partners. This campaign places our African partners at the center, achieving.
The reasons why we cannot handle those things, because our leaders are compromised. That is not, we are not inherently incapable of doing these things. If you stop your leader from getting compromised, you should be able to do these things easily.
That's the point. That's the point. So, but you just ended up saying that you don't have the intelligence. You are not saying that. I am saying that when you are going to beg people for food, dead
Tony,
people for
based on what
money.
you're saying,
You know,
Tony, based on what you're saying right now, you
you
are
have
now
an
agreeing with
integrity problem.
Google Ray that we have that Africans have low IQ.
I think we have 4 minutes
If we
left.
can't manage something
I'm
at
not.
One person
No,
at a time.
no,
One person at a time.
no.
Right.
That's not what I'm saying. I would never say.
Hold on.
I would
Let me
never
deal with,
say
I
that.
want to deal with what Tony is saying, because what Tony is saying, he's the one that disrupted this conversation by saying we are incapable of managing this technology. If you are restricting it to the fact that, okay, yes, our leaders are compromised, I can understand. But to just say, oh, blanketly, the context we are talking about all these things is when we get ourselves back. When we get rid of these leaders, that's why I asked the question first. If you get rid of these our leaders, you should be able to go and do these things.
I am not talking about intelligence. I'm not talking about intelligence. That would be. I'm not talking about intellectual ability. That would be to say that we don't have the intellectual capacity is wrong. I would never say that.
Okay,
can I ask you a
question? Because that's where I'm misunderstanding you. Maybe
when
we get rid of these leaders, are we
I'm
not
I'm
capable
saying
of building it?
We have been trying to do that for 60 years.
I'm
We are not
saying
able.
that.
No,
I'm saying that you don't have the honesty. You don't have the leadership. You don't have the will. You don't have the leadership to be able to handle that kind of thing. That's what I'm saying. I'm not.
Oh my God! They can't even let me ask one straight question. Are you saying that if we get rid of these leaders, we can be able to go ahead and build it, and you are okay with that?
But we are 60 years old
Tony,
now.
I'm
We're not
asking
been able
you.
to get rid of
Don't be
them.
quiet now when they ask you for a straight answer. Are you saying if we get rid of this leader, we can be able to go and build it, and we can be able to manage it?
I'll answer your question. Let me tell you, Abiola. I listened to Abiola. May God bless his soul.
Just answer the question.
When
Yes
he was
or no?
campaigning. Hold on. I'm answering. Yes, I'm answering your question. I'll answer with this example. Abiola said that he was in a plane when you had that Chernobyl disaster, and America had sending someone, down there to Ukraine, to help with the disaster. The person that was sent was a Nigerian. So to answer your question, do we have the intellect, the capability to man it? Yes, I'm not questioning, but I'm saying just like leadership, that you have quite a lot of people in Nigeria who can deliver good governance, but the environment, the operating environment that you have now, cannot allow you to do it. That's what I'm saying. That's the point I'm making. I'm not casting aspersion on the intelligence. I would never cast aspersion on the intelligence of the Nigerians. And I don't even think I don't even think that that's the proper thing to do.
I have a question for you. When they hear you, they'll be thinking that you are saying there's something inherently wrong with them.
Forefathers, one question for you.
Today,
I have a question for you, Forefathers. Please.
Yeah, please go ahead. This is Oga Ike.
Where would you put a nuclear weapon in Nigeria?
Like I've always said,
in
that
your bedroom.
Because you don't like to answer intelligent questions. Where would you put a nuclear weapon in Nigeria?
I will put it anywhere. Let's allow Ike
ask
the question. Look at that troublemaker. Leave it alone.
The question I wanted to ask you is that because we are arguing with Tony, but my question to you: we have Nigerian Defense Academy. What do they produce?
Not
The Nigerian Defense Academy, what do they produce?
I think Deacon did manufacture armored vehicles. They call it what
they produce pipeline.
You know, forefathers, listen. For me, I did not go to university and I didn't study too much as you people study. But at least my head is working. I'm a Nigerian. I just ask you, your Nigerian Defense Academy, what can they produce?
So
Nigeria did build ships, I don't know why we are
pipelines. That's what they produce.
Nigeria did.
So what is the argument? What is the argument with Tony? Because we have a simple example. I'm just giving you now because all of you are researchers. I'm not a researcher. I'm just a common class 5 student. But at least my head is working. I'm just asking a very simple question. Because nobody wouldn't want to have a nuclear weapon. No country wouldn't want to have. But your own country now, our own country called Nigeria, all this thing you see here is fake. They never produce anything. Everything they use, they buy from
this guy that designed this thing this guy that designed this thing is an Igbo man. That's why they call it Odogu. And let's see whether that will change your opinion.
You see,
you know, it's a different one that built this. You are saying
listen,
it's fake.
Listen, just look at what Tony told you. We have the intellectuals, we have the expertise, we have the know-how to do what we want to be in this planet Earth. But the institution and the environment can never allow you to do that. I want to join it with what said the truth. Said, is it speak the truth or said when
I speak the truth?
I speak the truth. When he used when he used Wike and Tinubu as an example. Listen, it's not that these people are not intelligent. That thing you think they don't know, they know. But because of the institution that they don't want to use it for you, that it is going to benefit you, forefathers, and me. That's why they pretend as if they don't know it. Example, Wike told you last week or last 2 weeks, it is not the best candidate that wins the election. Doesn't he know that P2P won the election? He knows. But he's telling you that not every good candidate wins the election. So which means he knows the truth.
Is Peter Obi a good candidate?
So he knows the truth.
Okay, we need to go somewhere. We'll start another wahala here today.
No, because the institution that he belongs to.
He is not a good candidate. I'm sorry.
There's a new panel coming on. We can carry on.
It's better than all the ones we have had before.
There's a new. Find a link.
It doesn't make him good.
There's a new live stream that is coming on now, so we can carry on the conversation there. And thank you, gentlemen. I think you have all been very passionate today, and the discussion has been very robust. And I try my best, but I hope the viewers learn something from it, and we try to also learn something from it. That the general that was reading that thing, that is very interesting, because I think he's actually reading from the document that I made a show about over a year ago on this channel about AFRICOM, because he's the head of AFRICOM now, and you notice that he was reading word for word some of the stuff we covered on that day. So that is very, very interesting. I wish I actually pulled the document so that you guys can see that he's actually reading from that document. But that said, gentlemen, thank you for coming in here. And it's good for us to be exploring these things, because it's actually very, very important. And we always have to. I'm not stubborn. See this guy, guy. He always thinks that I'm mean-spirited. So it's not about being stubborn. If you are correct about something, you have to defend it and give your reasons why you believe in that stuff. You see what I mean? Because the posterity, you owe posterity the truth of at least your truth anyway. Because tomorrow, if you are correct, it will come out. There are very few things I've said here that have been proven wrong. Let's face it. If you have found anything that I've said here that turns out to be completely false, that's opposite way around, let me know. I will apologize for it. Just like our gentleman here, Tony, apologized when he found the truth of things. This is how we behave. People of integrity show up here, and when they are wrong, they own up to it. And that's how we integrity. Oh, look at that. Kede, don't go and ruin this. We all try to be better people here. Let's not try to ruin it now. We all try to be better people here. So if we are wrong, we own up to it. If I'm wrong, I will own up to it right here. I'm not going to hide it. Like the Moss thing, it's clear. The evidence shows that it's not likely to be true. I will own up to that. Things that are true, we have to defend it. That is light. We have to defend it. It's just the truth of things. All right. We have to end before they come and have me. You know, they have already been here to come and say we should go to the next panel, and we can carry on the discussion from there. There's an interesting topic that is about to come up on that channel, on that discussion. I think it's about whether marriage is some kind of prison term that people are serving when they're in marriage. So let's go and check that one out. Thank you all for joining us. Tony, Jide, Ekene, Jonaba, so many of them great people that have been on the panel today, and on the on the chat, Boom Ray is there, Clement Ojo, McEnelly, Fumio, Ganwalele. I can't say everybody out there. Kolata is there helping with the donation. Thank you for that, Kolata. Kolata, you know, he might be a bad person. He does put money down now and again. Thank you for that. To another $5 Kolata there. And Bibi Ray is spot on. Bibi Ray, I never mentioned Bibi Ray for joining us. Thank you for joining us too. And AY for the donation. And AY did join us too. And till next time, we are going to catch you guys again. Let's go for now. Bye.
Oh no! Good go, we miss him. Buhari go, we miss him. Our own don't finish.
I swear! If person won't buy data now, it go use like 15 minutes look option. That time, when I say Tinubu they shake. Now who they shake? Me and you!
To buy plates of egg for this era will be like careless spending.
With 300, if you buy mineral and egg roll. But now, 300 no fit buy egg, talk less of roll. To chop single sausage shawarma now, person could do 2 weeks of planning.
Country they spoil they go. One person they one side they shout, my father is the best president.
Gary will be poor man food, don't turn good. No lie. President Tinubu, I beg.
I beg.
I beg.